Next up, this gentleman took into the wall, and now he fights his way from 32 into now 16. Part of that gum out, Toyota Racing, Toyota Corolla hatchback on Nitto tires. He's the rock star. That is Ryan Turk. Some more Toyota Racing for your diet. Pile on that Rockstar Energy Drink. Toyota GR Supra on Nitto tires. From Norway, Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Asbo. And last but definitely not least, your #1 qualifier with a score of 94 in the wet. It's definitely dried out. He got the bye run, and now here he is in top 16 action in the LZ Nitto Tires BC Racing S15. It is Adam LZ. There are your top 16 drivers. We're ready to send it here for round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship here at Lake Erie Speedway. I'm Jared Dienda. I'm joined by Ryan Sage up here in the booth and Lorette Nickel down in the grid in the pit area. We're going to get our cars back up to grid and send it here at Lake Erie Speedway. We're not going to stop until we see those carbon fiber trophies. Join us at the trophy and the podium stand as we are going to get them set. We're ready to send it as we are getting them back lined up. And when we come back, we'll have a special guest here from the United States Air Force. All right, psych. All right, as we are getting our special guest up here, just go and introduce him here as representing the United States Air Force. Well, thank you for joining us. And right before we came on camera, asked, first drift event? What is it?
Yes, sir. This is my first drift event.
Yeah, man. So are you pumped? Like, are you excited? Like, I mean, what's going through your emotions right now?
So this is an awesome adrenaline rush. I love it. Usually I have to go on a roller coaster for something like this. And once those tires spin, you get the smoke in your face. You're just,
yeah,
it hits you in the heart.
Well, thank you so much. Thank you for your support, United States Air Force, and being part of the United States Air Force. What got you to join the Air Force?
So joining the Air Force, I wanted to do something to serve my country.
Yeah.
Get out of my hometown. I saw everything in my hometown. I didn't really fit my lifestyle, so I wanted to do something exciting.
Awesome.
And the Air Force made me into a diesel mechanic, so working on backup generators, stuff like that.
Awesome.
Air Force sent me to Cummins, got me Cummins certified. They took great care of me.
That's great. So you are a car guy. You've been around this. How long have you been in the Air Force?
15 years.
Oh wow. I mean, what did you join when you were like 5? Like, you look mega young, man.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Yeah. But where are you originally from?
Akron, Ohio, couple hours down the road.
Oh yeah, you're right in your own backyard. So dude, you got it made. And now your current position in the Air Force, what is that?
So I'm a recruiter now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So speaking of recruiting, how can one find out about joining the United States Air Force if you're local here in the building, or if you're looking for more opportunity, because it's not just about being a pilot in Air Force, as you say, Cummins, mechanic, schooling, all these different opportunities. How can one find out about the United States Air Force?
So the best and easiest, most efficient way is going to airforce.com.
Okay.
And you enter your information there, and they'll hook you up with a local recruiter.
Awesome.
And now we're starting to hire for the Space Force, everything like that.
That's right.
Meet mechanics there too as well.
Yeah.
So.
We're going to the moon, baby.
That's right. Let's go.
And I can ask you, what's one of the most interesting jobs that you've ever heard of? Maybe somebody that is a fellow Air Force man or woman, or you've actually placed, maybe. Can you think
most
of anything?
interesting job? That's a tough one.
You can dwell on that one.
So the guys that combat controllers, they're the ones working with the Green Berets and the SEALs, calling the shots out there. That's probably the most interesting.
That's
combat
exclusive
control.
and kind of communique.
Oh, yeah.
That's great. Well, any vehicle you're kind of pulling for out here in particular?
I like the 86.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, because we get to Gucci.
Yeah,
nice up garage vehicle from Japan. All right, it's got a VR under the hood. Well, thank you so much for your support. Thank you for coming out here, Technical Sergeant Bergdorf. And you know what? Now you get to just hang out, no stress. All these millions of people watching us across the globe. No pressure there. I didn't want to tell you that before we go on. Some people get nervous, so I just didn't want to make you nervous at all. You're not nervous. You're totally fine. Everything's fine. Everything's fine. I'm joking.
Awesome.
All right, when we come back, we're going to be going right to our top 16. Thank you guys, gals, and children of all ages around the world. Top 16, round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. We call this Borderlands here at Lake Erie Speedway.
I want Matt to win. still like options? I think it is still.
Your body is a machine.
Okay.
800 horses coursing through its veins.
Knowledge energy, human
Ignited. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
I love this ad. I watched this ad 5 million times. Like the whole ad, and I just like the whole ad. It's so sick. I love what Toyota did with that ad.
Yo, Chelsea, the coloring on our NGK spark plugs looks incredible for handling 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah, I know. I've been telling you for years. I've been running NGK plugs, and they're awesome. Did you know that NTK is part of the NGK family? And they make all sorts of sensors like O2 sensors, temperature, pressure, position, and ignition coils.
I did not know that, but maybe we can talk them into making proximity sensors to help you with your bumper budget.
Now available at Advanced Auto Parts and CarQuest Auto Parts stores.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. NOS, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. NOS High Performance Energy. How hard will you drive? Welcome back as the sun is setting. It is a beautiful evening here as the sun will set eventually, but the lights are coming on. And I am here, I'm Jared Dienda, joined by my co-host and friend Ryan Sage. Ryan, earlier today we saw top 32, now here we with top 16. How do you think the event's gonna come together? We saw a pretty straightforward, event, not too much carnage, but overall, what are you expecting? What are your expectations?
Straightforward, but very, very fast, right? We finished an hour early, and that's very rare for a top 32. Drivers were very aggressive out of the gate, and then we started to see some settling in. We did have those 3 buy runs that also made it a lot quicker, and those drivers have been sitting on the sidelines for quite some time now. That's Adam LZ, Frederick Osbo, and Michael Essa, all with some really heavy battles coming up. So I expect there to be drivers out there that want to stamp their name on this first-time venue, saying, I got that win here at Erie, round 4, halfway through the season. Who's it going to be? It's going to be one of those guys, guaranteed. And you can see on the left-hand side of the bracket, on the right-hand side of the bracket, it is some killers that are coming here tonight to battle it out at Lake Erie Speedway.
Yeah, Adam LZ going against Denofa, a little redemption maybe for LZ in the wet, New Jersey. Reader and Taguchi. You got Matt Field and Ryan Turk. You got your points leader who had some issues, changed out his steering racket before 32. Ryan Ryan Turk went to the wall, changed that front right corner. Dylan Hughes versus Jonathan Aaron, and these are our season standings coming into this round of competition. Matt Field leads the pack, only 26 points behind him. Odie, you got Frederick Osbo 35, Chelsea Nova 39, Carney 57. Carney's out early, but those other top 4, they're still in it to win it. And let's take a look at some of the highlights of these top 5 drivers.
Yeah,
Matt Field.
got a little scary here for your current points leader, Matt Field, in this battle against former champion Daijiro Yoshihara. Remember, Field was having some issues with the vehicle. They had to change the steering rack. He decided to utilize his competition timeout, but Daijiro Yoshihara had a bigger mistake in his chase run, and that really gave the win to Matt Field. So hopefully Matt Field has got settled and ready to go. This is another big one, and this thematically has been something consistent for the car 64 this season. Chris Forsberg, that is. It's just mechanical issues have really hounded him and not been able to give him the kind of performance that we expect out of him. Last round in New Jersey had a great round, but again, it reared its head in the finals and he wasn't able to defeat or to contest the battle against Matt Field. Dean Carney and Ryan Turk, very interesting here with Ryan Turk. Goes into the wall in practice, looks like the car is completely destroyed, but comes out and is able to get by the 5th place in points right now with surging Dean Carney. Dean had a couple mistakes that made it a little bit easier for Ryan Turk to get through, and it was on this transition here in his lead run, then he kind of got handcuffed a little bit and was not able to fill that 3rd and final outside zone.
Yeah, so unfortunate for Dean Carney. He is out in top 32, but Ryan Turk, who is really trying to forge an attack in regards to the overall championship, because he comes into this round of competition 7th in points. And then you got Chelsea Nova and Jonathan Castro. That was a real fun one to watch. Castro says he's been dealing gremlins, we had that 2-hour break, which is quite lengthy, but it's a great opportunity to converse with the drivers. He said he's been having some issues, and when Chelsea hit him, he said, dude, I got to stay in it, but unfortunately just not enough there.
And you see the mistake right there. He just got bounded up. He wasn't able to pull through that final section, and you really can't make mistakes against Chelsea DeNova. He's rarely going to give you an opportunity to capitalize on a mistake, and unfortunately for Jonathan Castro, bows out in the top 32. And that kind of sets the stage for where we are right now. It is interesting that the Mustang Bros are on opposite ends of the bracket. I know they just absolutely love that because they would love to face each other in the finals, but it's a long way to go. We've got Matt Field leading the current series. We've got Odie Bakchis, as you said, quietly in the picture and really in the picture in that number 2 spot. And as we take a look here at our Torque Drift animated track preview, surprisingly, it was Adam LZ that we designed, or the guys at Torque designed this for. He ends up being your number 1 qualifier with a run that looked a lot like this.
Yeah, it was a score of 94 yesterday. A lot wetter yesterday than it is on the video game. But yeah, Adam LZ delivers. He's over the moon about it, and he's absolutely elated. His girlfriend Colette Davis, his umbrella girl, rapping out with them during the halftime break. He seems really cool. He seems really calm and collected. He wants redemption against Chelsea DeNova, as early in 32 in New Jersey he got knocked out. But if you haven't already, free to play on mobile and PC now. Download Torque Drift because you can get Adam LZ's new 2021 S15 livery and sticker pack. So download Torque Drift today. All right, we are getting set for our Royal Purple Top 16. Royal Purple, the synthetic experts, the official engine oil of Formula Drift. Ryan, walk us through our tandem format.
Well, if you were here for the top 32, you know that these are drivers competing in single elimination head-to-head battles where each battle consists of 2. Leads the first run and chases the second. For the judges, it's either driver A, driver B, or if it's too close to call, one more time is an option. Surprisingly, we only saw one more time in the top 32.
Yeah, well, that was Jeff Jones and Travis Reeder, and that was it. But and here are our lead driver goals. Run the qualifying line as if nobody else is watching, right? Dance like nobody's watching. Run a 100-point qualifying run. Run a chaseable lead run. If it's not deemed chaseable, then you're going to get docked for that. Now, chase driver goals.
You got to initiate no later than the last initiation point. Those are markers up on that first outside zone. Maintain close proximity to the lead driver. Big one here. Match or better the lead driver's angle. And you always want to try to mimic that driver wherever they go, how they manipulate their transitions. And really, to cut it short, follow that lead driver like a moving clipping point. That is really the way to approach it as a chase driver. Now we've talked about this, we'll bring this up again. The momentum map, those red zones are areas where we know from data taken off the cars that the lead drivers are going to slow in that area. So this is really the only areas that drivers should be slowing is from initiation and right before they get into outside zone 2. We saw that come into play with Brandon Sorensen in the top 32, kind of slowed off that first outside zone. There was a collision there and it went against them. So we'll be looking at the momentum map quite a bit.
To clarify on that situation, I talked to Brandon and Rome, they were together. Brandon went to go shift, went into neutral, fell on his face. So right. Yes, exactly. Did come out of momentum. He owned up to it. Both Rome and Brandon came up through the Pro-Am ranks, and now here they are in Pro. So just wanted to clarify that. So question for you, the United States Air Force trivia. What is the fastest jet in the United States Air Force? Go ahead and click into the description on the YouTube page. You'll see it right there, and you will click that and let us know. F-16, 22, 35, or 15. What is the fastest fighter jet in the United States Air Force? And here we have the fastest two right now on track, Adam LZ and Chelsea DeNofa. Adam LZ will lead. Chelsea DeNofa will give chase because Adam LZ, #1 qualifier. Chelsea DeNofa, he qualified 17th. Didn't have the proper wet setup, but now it is all bone dry. We're about to throw up some smoke here as we are here in our Royal Purple Top 16. Send it! Here we go. Adam LZ, Chelsea DeNofa, ideal situation. Let's see who comes out with the ideal scenario. Adam LZ initiates into that bank, drop it down quite a bit, but then you see Chelsea DeNofa catching up to him. Adam LZ with good transition now going to that outside zone 2. Remember, this is first head-to-head battle here this weekend. Keeps great posture there now into that final outside zone 3. Digs a little deeper. Chelsea DeNofa falls, and you can see him massage that Ford Mustang right to the side. And both these guys running on BC Racing suspension across the finish line. Ryan, a great way to start our Royal Purple Top 16.
Well, Adam LZ surely wants a little comeback against Chelsea DeNofa. A little bit of revenge here for the loss in New Jersey.
Alright, I don't know what happened. Okay, so it seems like everybody is buffering. I'm actually stream. I can't even send. I need to wait. I have to wait because it's slow chat.
Racing suspension across the finish line. Ryan, a great way to start our Royal Purple Top 16.
Well, Adam LZ surely wants a little comeback against Chelsea DeNofa. A little bit of revenge here for the loss in New Jersey.
You have to be kidding me. Why?
Racing suspension across the finish line. Ryan, a great way to start our Royal Purple Top 16.
Well, Adam LZ surely wants a little comeback against Chelsea DeNofa. A little bit of revenge here for the loss in New Jersey.
This is the exact same thing that was happening the other day on
For LZ, right for Denofa.
Oh, there we go.
And there we go. Chris Ewell says Denofa, as does Ryan Lontaine and Brian Egger. Chelsea Denofa gets the win. Denofa advances on, and the obvious outcome there, as contact was made with not only the wall, but with Chelsea and Denofa. Advances on. Advances on. Definitely not showing for him. Reeder qualifying 25th. Now keep in mind, Reeder was part of the not so great 8, meaning that he had to do his second run in order to make it into top 32, or couldn't score and qualify higher than the 23rd position because of his lackluster first qualifying run, which was actually incomplete. So Kazuya Taguchi will lead. Travis Reeder will give chase. You can see the lights illuminate right there in the middle near the cone. Once they extinguish, the lead driver can leave the line. The chase driver, noted, can leave at any time. Here we go. Kazuya Taguchi initiates. Look at that, Travis Reeder right there on the door of Kazuya Taguchi. Taguchi, great angle from him. Reeder transitions. Oh, and Reeder spins out where he did on his first qualifying run as Kazuya Taguchi continues through the course, and this will be a major advantage as long as he keeps it there, and he does. So unfortunately for Reeder, he is knocked out.
Well, we know these drivers are going to be pushing hard. We will see them continue to push hard the deeper into competition that we go. And that's what we saw with Adam LZ. We will revisit the last half of that battle again, just to give you one more look at it. But here, same kind of situation. This time, Reeder actually stays in the pocket. A little bit less angle, but he surged forward. Had a good move there against Taguchi to kind of maintain proximity. But there he gets bounded up on that little crease coming down off of the bank, and that really hurts him there. He becomes a non-factor after that mistake, and he shuts it down. It's going to be an incomplete. We see Taguchi getting through that run without making a major mistake, and so he will have an advantage going into run number 2.
Yeah, as you said, Ryan, that crease, the transition coming off the bank into that second outside zone, that's what threw him off yesterday in his first qualifying run. So I said it knocks him out. What I meant is he could potentially knock himself out with that mistake. So now Reeder will lead. He's really hoping that Kazuya Taguchi makes a mistake in that chase position. Here comes that Link Engine Management BMW. Now into that first outside zone. Aggressive initiation from Reeder, but you can see him slowly inching his way down the embankment. A wider line approaching into that second outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi looks like he finds the right spot to put it at. And you got to imagine Reeder saying, mess up, but Kazuya does not. He rises to the occasion, hence the name Up Garage. And Kazuya Taguchi puts it down, and I believe that's going to be unofficially all we see of Travis Reeder the remainder of this weekend or this evening.
Yeah, unfortunately, you got to take some risks. You have to really push the pace, and that's what happens sometimes. I think he made a really good move there on initiation, but that transition down from outside zone 2, that cost him. In the lead run, he's got to push as hard as he possibly can. Taguchi understands where he's at in the battle, and he does not make an equal mistake, so that should be enough to get it done.
Fine. I think she'll put Corbin's laundry bag, so just put his stuff.
All right, here we go. Here's the results. Travis Reeder, Kazuya Taguchi.
Wait, you said what?
I said everything on the behind the door, I'm sure needs to be washed.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna clean everything up after the stream. No, why? Why is it loading still?
You said it's doing it to everybody?
Yeah. That's what they're streaming on.
Slide him left for Rita, right for Kazuya Taguchi. LZ and Denofa went against each other in New Jersey in the wet, ideal dry conditions, but unfortunately LZ hits that wall. He actually hit Chelsea Denofa. You can see with that front nitto-to-nitto contact, cheek to cheek, as they go and slam dance into the wall. LZ takes himself out. So already in the Great 8, Denofa and Taguchi as we move on. Now keep in mind, like we were talking about before before we began the whole top 16, Matt Field had a steering rack issue, and then Ryan Turk took it into the wall. So both these guys have had not an easy road to this point. So Matt Field actually did call his competition timeout as well. So you have one and done for the weekend. Ryan Turk did not utilize it, but here he is. Matt Field qualifying 4th, Turk qualifying 20th. And again, that was yesterday in wet conditions. Here we go, that Falcon tires, Drip K, Borla exhaust, Corvette into that first outside zone. He is hungry. Ryan Turk initiates. Not as high as Field. Let's see how they handle this. Big angle there from Field, allowing Ryan Turk to get to door, and Ryan Turk now slows down. He spins out. So another scenario similar to that of Travis Reeder, and Matt Field finishing out his run. And Ryan Turk, unfortunately, with that mistake in the chase position, very similar to that of Reeder. Let's take a look at it from different angles, Ryan.
Well, once again, you know, we're seeing these guys push it and pushing it a little bit too hard and trying to find that precision moment to attack and make your point known in the chase position. Let's take a look at Ryan Turk here. Here he goes, coming down, tucks behind Matt Field, surges forward, starts trying to close the door. Matt Field, big smoke line, super high on the bank. Turk trying to find an area to attack right here, comes through the smoke line, pushes forward, big angle. And just like Reeder is not able to hold it there, outside zone 2 and the wall playing a huge role in some of the decisions so far here tonight.
Yep, getting all the messages coming in, had a glitch there versus LZ and Denofa if you're watching at home. Unfortunately, a lot of fans watching, and the outcome was LZ getting knocked out, but the stream is back up. We are good and ready to see the second half of this battle. Now Ryan Turk will lead, but with that spin, he's going to need Matt Field, the beast from the Bay, to definitely make a mistake in the chase position. And that transition, Ryan, going from outside zone 1 to
They just said it's good. Wow, and I wanted to watch that. Wow.
Outside zone 2, definitely playing a role here. As Ryan Turk initiates that gum out. Look at this, he is going for it. Live free or die, that's the motto of his home.
And don't spin. Yeah, that's again. That's be kidding me.
State of New Hampshire transitioning back to that second outside zone.
In the top 16, Turk pushing too hard through outside zone 2. Coming through this last section, he knows he just needs to kind of stay within relative proximity. He's going to get the win, move on to the Great 8, and he does just that.
Yeah, he did exactly, as you say, Ryan, what he needed to do. Flying over here, inspecting. You got to imagine the frustration levels, just how quickly it begins and it's over.
They're the same horsepower, so.
Scores are in. Slide them left for Field or right for Ryan Turk, and our current points leader. Oh, wow, look at this. So we are, Ryan Turk gets 1 vote. Was that 2-1? Was that correct? That's not right. Was it unanimous? Okay. Okay, it was unanimous. That was incorrect. It was unanimous, obviously. So, apologize there. It was unanimous. Matt Field gets the win. Matt Field gets the win and advances on into the Great 8. So Matt Field will go against one of these gentlemen, either Dylan Hughes, who is now coming out of that Pedal Commander burnout box, the Permatex Rain-X vehicle of Dylan Hughes, and here comes the Injuku Racing, Federal Tires, S chassis. And Jonathan Nairn coming down the chute in just a moment. Dylan Hughes, you can see the horsepower difference here. Dylan Hughes, Jonathan Nairn, 950, 1023. And Dylan Hughes waits at the line. And Nairn waiting. All right, as now Nairn shoots on out. All right, Nairn comes down onto the track into the start line. Here comes Dylan Hughes and Jonathan Nairn. The winner of this battle advancing on against Matt Field. All right, let's see what the Dozer's got. Out front, getting that clean air out of the gate. Permatex, GT Radial, BMW. And looks like we are good to go. Matt Soap making sure they're ready to go. Again, there's that light. See the cylinders illuminating. Once extinguished, you are good to go. There we go. Dylan Hughes in that first outside zone. Had an opportunity to have him up here in the booth and take a different perspective. Look at Aaron. Slides right up to the side of Dylan Hughes. Here comes Hughes. Now let's see how he handles transition. This has been a real big issue with all the drivers, looks like. All right, so as Dylan Hughes slides into that second outside zone, Nairn comes in. You see a quick little checkup, but then they both slingshot out of that second outside zone. Ryan, again, just going from that first outside zone to that second outside zone, playing a huge issue.
We are seeing a lot of those guys surge on their chase run, trying to get in the pocket against a lead. Dylan Hughes really doing a good job this weekend, kind of hitting all the marks. You can see right into that second outside zone, but Nairn exceeds it way past the point that the judges would like you to. And then you can see Dylan out front is staying consistent with his lead, so he's giving himself a really great opportunity here to get the win.
Okay, now we are hearing Jonathan Nairn calling a competition timeout. So that is a competition timeout. He's, from what we understand, he lost his supercharger belt. So down a lot of horsepower in order to hang with Dylan Hughes. Dylan Hughes vies for the 2J setup. And here we have the NGK competition timeout. Do spark plugs timeout? Yeah, they sure do. And timely spark plug replacements not only prevents fouling and provides the best engine performance, it ensures less repair time and can save you money on unnecessary repairs. Visit ngksparkplugs.com to learn more about OE suggested spark plug intervals and find the best plug for your engines. NGK, the ignition specialist. We are here in the Royal Purple Top 16. We can see over the pit of Rome Charpentier, who we're going to be seeing here in just a little bit in that garagistic BMW E36. Experience the NGK NTK activation if you haven't already. Sign up at the rig to receive NGK swag and enjoy the photo booth, play a trivia challenge, fun activities for kids too at future rounds of the Formula Drift Pro and Pro Spec Championship. All right, clearing the track of some debris, and looks like we are seeing Frederick Osbo, who we have not seen this weekend just yet. So Frederick Osbo, because he qualified second, our top three qualifiers had bye runs. So from Skade, Norway, Frederick Osbo against Rome Charpentier for his first ever top 16 in the Pro Championship. Some Toyota fans watching. Rutledge, I know you're watching at home right now. How's it going, buddy? Toyota Racing Team, cheering on his fellow Toyota buddy. But Rome says he's gunning for him. Going for the moderns on his wing, if you catch a glimpse of it. War against all the modern vehicles. And had some time to talk to Rome, and his pops is here in the building, cheering him on, helping him out. And that skid pad, Ryan, has seen a lot of abuse here, warming things up. great contingency of drifters out here in this area.
Yeah, absolutely. I really like this burnout box setup, actually, just because of how close it is to where fans can congregate. So that's a really cool thing for fans to have. But it also is enough space for 2 people to do burnouts at the same time, which helps us kind of speed things up. And as we take a look at this top 5, we're starting to see some of the guys moving deeper in a competition that's going to have an impact on that championship chase.
Repercussions here. Matt Field did advance on. Odie Bakshis we have yet to see. He's going to be our final battle, or what's scheduled to be the final battle of the top 16. But Frederick Osbo is sitting 3rd in points as you talk about that top 5 point standings. Osbo will lead. Rockstar Energy, Toyota GR Supra, Ditto Tires will lead. Now throws it into that first outside zone. You can see him hammering down as the sun shining off the gold nose and tail of that of Frederick Osbo. Now look at Rome. Rome Charpentier, really consistent through the course. Fluid, both these guys. Ryan, I'd love to hear your analysis here on the second run, because Rome really delivering.
Yeah, and he's having himself one heck of an event. And chasing down Frederick Osbo, no easy task. Osbo seemingly picking up momentum here at this event with that high qualification. It could have been a little bit more angle coming out of outside zone 1. And we see Rome on a slightly tighter line there, but keeping it pretty clean as we come into outside zone 2. Rome is going to just follow him a little bit more on the inside. I'd like to see him get deeper there as Osbo gets into outside zone 3, locks in on a really solid line there, but then pushes a little bit wide, and Rome follows him as a moving clipping point. So 1 half done. As we get to the second half, going to just follow him a little bit more on the inside. I'd like to see him get deeper there as Osbo gets into outside zone 3, locks in on a really solid line there, but then pushes a little bit wide, and Rome follows him as a moving clipping point. So 1 half done as we get to the second half of the battle here between Rome Charpentier and Frederick Osbo.
You can see the 5-minute clock there. Kevin Wells holding that. We're in Jonathan Nairn's pit. So Jonathan Nairn still up on stands, taking a look, making sure clearance is good, as again he blew off his supercharger belt. So will Nairn be able to complete the second half of the Dylan Hughes battle? Now on front, the Garagistic Federal Tire BMW E36 from Rome Charpentier. All right, let's see Rome going in, and Frederick Osbo nosing in. Look at that. Great mimicking of angle. Amazing proximity there for Frederick Osbo. Now into that second outside zone. Looks like Rome dives in. Frederick Osbo tempers that flame really good, and then bam, drops right to the side of Rome Charpentier. Whoa! And Rome, it looks like you saw Rome actually look back.
I think Frederick hit him.
Looked like it could have been wheel to wheel. You see Rome kind of, you know, the wheel get absolutely ripped out of his hands. Let's take a look at this again here, Ryan.
Yeah, that was definitely a really interesting occurrence here. Let's take a look at it from the drone as Osbo really staking it to Rome from the onset. Super close, pacing forward, charging right there against the door of Rome Charpentier. Now coming into the second outside zone, Rome does a great job getting out to the edge of outside zone 2. Here comes Osbo surging. He's probably going to get to a point where they're going to rub right there, and then we're going to see Rome forced out of drift. So it does look like there was contact there. That I don't know if this will be classified as collision, but he did fall out of drift. So we're going to see Osbo surging. He taps him once, and then Rome unwinds it there. Now, what the judges are going to ask is, you know, was that contact that resulted in Rome going? The judges are going to tap him once, and then, but he did fall out of drift. So we're going to see Osbo surging. He taps him once, and then Rome, Osbo him just coming in to the latter part of outside zone 3, but he was stable for about a half beat after that, and then he kind of came out of drift. I'm not implying a flop or anything like that. I'm just telling you what happened on the ground.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking at it. You know, that's our job, is to be reactionary. Analyzation, that's the judge's role. So as we take a look at it from different angles, you know, we've seen drivers take hits and keep on continuing on. I think it looked more like Rome's front left went, Osbo kind of went behind his front left. It looked like more bumper to wheel as opposed to wheel, which I could see the wheel being ripped out of your hands. But from this bird's eye view, from again, the truth serum, as I like to call it, take a look at it again. Ryan, what are you seeing?
Well, obviously Osbo bumps him, right? He bumps him once clearly right here on the door, right? And they may have touched the wheel a little bit with his front bumper, and then a half a beat happens, and then Rome comes out of drift. Now, obviously, A happens and then B happens, therefore A caused B, right? That's what you want to say, but it doesn't necessarily follow that that's the case. And that's what the judges are going to be analyzing and figuring out. The intuition is that, yes, you know, Rome is not a driver that would flop. He's going to stay in it. Something must have happened from the bump, but the judges have to make that determination.
Yeah, and again, we are here giving it our knee-jerk reaction and giving commentary, entertainment, education, and let's take a look at this again. So, right, doink, and then that's what I'm just wondering, like, maybe something broke.
The half beat.
Yeah, just that half beat. So you see the bump, pause, go. Like, so, yeah, you know, and like you said,
you don't know where you're coming down on it yet?
Yeah.
You're thinking about it?
Yeah. I just, you know, our job is to kind of, you know, translate what the judges are thinking, what we're thinking, as, you know, we've seen 18 years of Formula Drift competition, and here we are to digest this, find out the scenario, and see how it translates.
Yeah, and this is what happens. You know, the judges want to see a plethora of replays to see if there's anything that they didn't pick up. You know, the drone is super helpful because it just gives you a perspective from above that you really oftentimes can't see on camera angles that are at a certain height and shooting into smoke, and it's obviously hard to see between the vehicles. So I think the drone was super helpful there. It doesn't change the fact, I think what we did see was Osbo does bump him. It looks like it gets him right at the front part of the door. Yep. And maybe the front bumper may have rubbed up against the wheel there. And then you got a half beat, and then he comes out of drift there.
Yep. Our three judges, Chris Ewell, Ryan Lantain, Brian Eggert. Yeah, how are we doing out there, fans? You guys are around the world right now on the Formula Drift live stream. And we are...
One interesting thing that hasn't happened this year that I just thought about is, you know, the judges, when they're asserting fault, they do have a table that tells them if this happens, then you go here, and if that happens, you go here, and it's basically just like a logical formula. But they also have an option that basically says I can't tell who's at fault, right? Now this isn't one of those situations, right? Because obviously Osbo did hit Rome. The question is whether or not Rome coming out of drift was caused by Osbo. I think that's really what it boils down to.
Right. Well, because again, we you know, taking a look at it earlier. All right, yeah, and we have points on the line. I mean, you got first place 100 points, and like you said yesterday, Ryan, you said you wanted to create even a tighter mix, right? So a tighter mix towards that championship. So this is both for pro and pro spec. First place with 100 points, second place 91, third and fourth, because we do not have a consolation battle, 80 points. Fifth through eighth are all the same. And at this time, I'd like to throw it down to Ryan Lantain, who is going to elaborate. Ryan?
Yeah, so right now, two of the judges have their votes in. The third one is actually consulting the contact sheet that Sage was just talking about, trying to establish who he thinks would be at fault for this. And we asked the start line guy down there, Sopa, if he could see where the damage was. And it's on the door of Rome's car. So the initial concern was that there was wheel-to-wheel contact, which could, you know, as we've seen in the past, take the wheel out of the driver's hand that was hit. But in this case, you can actually see Rome look back at Osbo when he gets hit, and it looks like he takes his eyes off the road, off the track, and kind of steers off the road, off the track itself. We can't say that the contact, we've seen harder contact than that. that drivers have driven through. But we can't say for certain, because we're not in the car, if that was enough to take the wheel out of his hand or if it was enough to push him off the track. So, we after Chris and I put our votes in, we sort of talked a little bit, and we kind of agreed that it seems like it was kind of a shared event that happened there, and we see that Brian went with Osbo. So we have some differences of opinion there, clearly, but we're going to see it one more time from these guys.
So there it is, 2-1, and majority rules. So with Chris Yule and Ryan Lontaine saying one more time, I think that's, what do you make of that outcome there, Ryan?
You were asking me a question, and I was having conversation in my headset. Go ahead.
The question is, what do you think of that outcome? That was a one more time.
Yeah, I kind of understand the outcome, because they are trying to find a way to have clarity on this battle, right? And Osbo was at fault for the contact, and Ryan pointed out something I thought was super interesting, that Rome looked back when he made contact, and we saw it on that final replay, and that maybe he lost sight of what was going on. And if that becomes an equal fault scenario, then I do understand them one more time.
Yeah, I saw it when it happened, because it looked like the wheel got ripped out of his hands, but and then you get into he said, she said, or he said, in this scenario.
Well, they also did something that they are allowed to do, which is to consult with competition staff about markings that are on the car to make any kind of determination. Yeah.
All right, well, regardless, it will be a one more time for Rome and Osbo. So an OMT for them as we revisit the second half. This is the second run of Naren and Hughes. So if you recall the Naren-Hughes battle, we'll probably play the BC Racing side-by-side instant replay as Naren goes into that first outside zone. Great angle from Naren. Remember, he lost his supercharger belt, but it seems to be all super there. Now coming into that second outside zone, both of them very fluid. Look at Dylan Hughes really applying the pressure. And Naren into that last and final outside zone. And you can see Dylan, oh wow, across the finish line. Things got really interesting there. Ryan, any standout moments for you between Naren and Hughes?
Good use of the competition timeout there. Let's revisit and refresh that first battle in our mind. You can see Dylan out front on the left-hand screen, in the chase in the right. I like the way Naren attacked the wall at the beginning, but then he kind of fell off. And notice that Dylan is up a little bit higher. Coming down off the bank, Dylan's keeping good proximity into outside zone 2. Naren goes a little bit wide, but Dylan didn't get all the way out to outside zone 2 on his chase. Now this final section here, there is a point of difference. You can see Dylan deep into that outside zone and also tight on his chase run.
All right, Dylan Hughes and Jonathan Naren waiting for the outcome there as we look at that BC Racing side-by-side instant replay. And I think that's a good indicator to see what's going on here. Matt Sopa waiting to point to who gets the win. Dylan Hughes, Jonathan Naren. Slide him left for Dylan Hughes, right for Jonathan Naren. It looks like Dylan Hughes gets the win. Jonathan Naren knocked out as the boy from North Carolina. Dylan Hughes will be going against Matt Field in the Grade 8. Now we are officially halfway through the Grade 8, but we're just advancing on. And because we had Osbo and Rome, they were on the other side, but now we got Yves Meyer. And remember that top right corner, Frederick Osbo and Rome Charpentier, that is a one more time battle between those gentlemen. But as we advance on to Yves Meyer and that of Rad Dan Burkett. Rad Dan and the Rad Industries Gear Wrench Toyota Supra in that Pedal Commander burnout box. Now Yves Meyer trying to make a name for himself, and it's great to see him here in the top 16. Yves Meyer went against Kyle Mohan earlier today. Dan Burkett went against Alec Robbins. Now he finds himself here in top 16. There are the stats. Yves, his number, quarter less horsepower, but horsepower doesn't make all the difference in the world. A little tighter track. And second in points, Odi Bakshis, he had some great points. A fan was asking, what do you think of the track? He says, it might look you know, like Irwindale, it might kind of have like a Seattle. It's its own thing. This is absolutely different from every other track we compete in. So it might look similar to, you know, the naked eye. It's an oval. You come inside, you do this S-turn. It is a very dynamic, different track. Eve Meyer will lead. Dan Burkett will give chase. Here comes Eve Meyer. Dan Burkett. Ryan, you saw it yesterday, and here it is again. Wow. Dan doesn't give a drift. Here we go. As look at that, Eve Meyer. You see some shaking up of Dan Burkett, and now Eve Meyer in that last outside zone. And Dan Burkett, with that proximity, brings it across the finish line. Man, that was. I was kind of speechless there because it got weird. Like Eve got aggressive, Dan got aggressive, but then he straightened out. Let's take a look at it.
You know, if nothing else, both of these drivers have really been putting.
Froze again. You know.
On a fine display of aggressive driving, but I think Eve gets
of this battle. The nitrous being purged. Dan Burkett, Rad Industries Gear Wrench Supra. Eve Meyer will chase him down. The mullet flapping in the wind here of Dan Burkett. Firing off. Look at that great angle there from Dan Burkett. Great angle, but would like to see him a little higher up. I mean, he is absolutely burning those GT radials off into that second outside zone. Eve Meyer getting a lot of grip, but a lot of side bite there from Dan Burkett. Man, when he gets that open air and he's just got all this open road in front of him, he really performs well. But is that going to be enough to offset? I mean, Eve, you know, quite a few vehicles back. What are your thoughts, Ryan?
Well, you know, I wanted to see Eve stay a little bit closer on the big bank and kind of.
Like a bus length and a half away.
Keep the pressure on him, but you know, he gave him a little bit too much of a gap. Dan did.
Keeps freezing. You know, while this freezes, I'm gonna go ahead and do that. Display capture. Number 3. Okay. Display 1.
Have a little bit of a mistake there on the
minus the bumper, the front right light looks like he's winking at you. He got into the wall earlier today. So as we are quickly getting through our top 16, remember we have our one more time of Osbo, third in points. And here we go. We are looking at the BC Racing side by side. Go for gold, the official suspension of Formula Drift, BC Racing. So on the left, you see Eve Meyer dragging that wall, and that was a major correction and straightening there of Dan Burkett. Eve, as you said, would like to see him closer. Compromise is getting deep. He makes that correction in that chase position. Dan Burkett, he looks like he finds his sweet spot because Eve, as you said earlier, took a shallower line, allowing Burkett to gain that proximity. As looks like we're drifting in the sky as well. Beautiful night for a soar, bro.
Yeah, that's a good one. Fun times. Beautiful sunset.
And slide him left for Eve Meyer, right for Dan Burkett. That's a one more time from Chris Yule. And a Eve Meyer vote from Ryan Lontaine. And Brian Egger says Eve Meyer gets the win. Eve Meyer gets the win. Ryan Lontaine, we're going to ask you to throw on your headset. Want some elaboration here. I'm going to take a stab here. Was it the correction from Dan Burkett on the initiation of outside zone 1 in the chase?
Yeah, at the end of outside zone 1, you could see that Dan, well...
Remove that. It froze, by the way, again.
Clearly he was a little bit lower on line, but then, of course, we saw that big straighten from him as well. So that was one of the major things that we talked about just now after the votes were in, and we all agreed that it was pretty serious, and that was one of the reasons why Brian voted for Eve as well.
Right on. Yeah, that's just a standout moment for me because both of them had kind of, it seemed like they were playing, I don't know, mistake tennis. They were going back and forth with their mistakes here and there, but that big correction of Dan Burkett, I think is just too large, because imagine if he was in the lead, that would be an unchaseable lead run. But in the chase, you would kind of get away, get away with it. But it's a difficult one, especially on initiation. But this first outside zone to second outside zone, the transition, and doesn't seem that drastic and harsh. But when the suspension is loaded, it gets interesting as playing a role. Ryan, Osbo and Rome.
Yeah.
I mean, Rome and Osbo, that contact. Null and void. Let's do it again.
I'm going to be thinking about that battle, I think, for the remainder of the weekend and tonight, because it's very rare that something for the first time happens, and that was an incident. That was a first-time incident. I want to think about, the repercussions of that, right, and what that actually means in terms of the way that it's judged. I am happy that we are seeing it one more time. I want to see a clear victor. But obviously, that was a really, really unique incident there. And, it's something we want to go back and just take it on board and figure out how to move forward.
Rule books are developed. They're not set in stone. They develop, they enhance. Here we go. Frederick Osbo absolutely shining bright like a diamond here. Frederick Osbo pulling away from Rome Charpentier. So not making it an easy task there from Rome as, wow, just as I say that, gets to the side of that Toyota Supra. Rome Charpentier now brings him to that third outside zone. And Frederick Osbo puts the Norwegian hammer in his right foot and hammers down across the finish line. Man, really well done by Frederick Osbo. Let's take a look.
So both drivers trying to get it right this time around. Osbo right out of the gate, making a big impression there. Smooth, stable initiation. We saw a little bit of some wavering there from Rome, and he's back trying to gain ground here. Now he's going to tuck in. Does a great job following in Osbo to outside zone 2. High marks there, but Osbo back around. Better job on outside zone 3 and leaves a gap between him and Rome as they get through the finish line. So solid lead run there from Osbo. Little bit of a shaky start in the chase for Rome Charpentier. I saw on the initiation from Rome is he just wasn't as settled and he was on a lower line. You see that little flub right there? And he did give him that gap. So Rome has got to step up here and put down an amazing lead run to try to get back at Frederick Osbo.
He's got Osbo in his rearview mirror. That's a big task. Hey, welcome to Top 16. Here's it one more time against the former champ. Here's talks about the moderns on his wing, and I think it's a great. You know what? Hats off to Rome. Let's see how he fares. Rome Charpentier, you got one battle under your belt, Top 16. Don't leave it in the judges' hands as Rome initiates with a clean air, massive angle there. Frederick Osbo, I think, is going to give him a little bit of room here, and then he's going to try to stick it to the door of that BMW E36. Now watch this. This is where Frederick Osbo could really twist the knife on Rome Charpentier, and that, another, what?
He did it again.
Oh, come on.
What are the odds?
Wait, was that a hit?
That was absolutely the same location because it's so deceiving. That angle, it looks like it's the finish line, but it's exactly the same point.
I think a lot of people, there will be a group of people who think that Osbo got a second opportunity on that first battle, and there will be some people that think that it was the right call for the majority voters. On this second one, you would imagine that keeping the pressure on is important, and trying to control the vehicle is going to be of utmost importance. but if you told me what were the odds that Osbo was going to make contact again with Rome in that section of the course, if indeed he did, which it looks like he did, I would tell you it's 1 in a million.
Here we go. So this is going to be the truth serum. Tap.
Okay, how did he spell?
Okay,
another
so
one.
Here's what's interesting is it's at the latter portion of the outside zone 3.
The max angle.
You're max angled out. So any little tap is going to throw you off. So here's where the fault lies. Osbo just saw that happen to Rome, spinning out regardless. He goes right. Now he goes left. He spins into him, but looks like he taps his door. There's no wheel-on-wheel contact.
It almost looks, does he tap him and then he starts spinning, or does he tap him after he spins?
If he's maxed out on angle, and just you have to think of the attitude of the vehicle, it getting disrupted, suspension compressing, excuse me, and the compression of the suspension. This is really interesting, but to see it once, as you said, Ryan, for the first time, the second time. So Frederick Osbo, slide him left, Rome, slide him right. And it looks like, without very minimal instant replays, Frederick Osbo gets the victory.
I think what the judges are seeing there, and we'll let Ryan come in, is that Osbo tapped him after he had gone over into the spin.
Yeah, that's what it looked like to us as well. Watching from the drone, you can see that his car starts to over-rotate, and then you get a little tap from Osbo. So as we watch here, you can see that Osbo has very consistent proximity, and then all of a sudden you see that over-rotation slightly, and there's a little tap, and then he keeps going. But we can't put that on Osbo. He's supposed to be close. He's supposed to be there. There's no reason for Rome to slow down or do anything weird in the lead, because through that area they're supposed to maintain momentum in the lead position.
Yeah, and you'd like to think that. So no body language telling anything there, but and you'd like to think that. Rome, it's just really tough. I'd love to be in their heads. I'd love, Lorette Nickel to actually communicate with Osbo or Rome. And I think, Ryan, as we talked about at the beginning of the show, Brandon Sorensen and that coming into play, getting some clarity between Brandon and Rome, and Brandon saying, hey, I went to neutral. Rome could say, like, hey, I knew I had to bring the heat. I got Frederick Osbo back here. The contact, it completely spun me out, or I was already spinning, and that. But competition's competition.
Like you said on the clarification with Sorensen, there's always he was slowing, right? And they made the right call. And what is the reason, right? And the reason that you found out was because he misshifted, right? Yep. It also could have been because he made a driver mistake, but you clarified that it was a misshift, and it ended up being the right call.
And I want clarification on this. And I think you want to sleep tonight and sleep well this weekend. Like you said, the debut of something new to, evolve the rule book and evolve kind of just perception of not only the judges, but of course the fans, and educate them throughout the process.
Yeah, obviously there's some that are unsavable, but for the most part, everybody that is a fan of Formula Drift, I think, is super well-intentioned. And, this is a really tricky sport to understand when you first approach it. But it's really important to understand the criteria and then to challenge the judges to say, hey, are you guys being consistent with the criteria? Not you're bringing your own set of criteria to judging it from outside the system.
Here we go with the next battle. Two former champions, Michael Essa, FCP Euro, Liquid Volley, GT Radial, BMW, Von Gittin Jr. A little late initiation. They're not late, but not as early as Michael Essa. And Von Gittin Jr. surprisingly not high on the bank. Does have proximity, but let's see how he handles this second outside zone. Woo! Look at that. Von Gittin Jr. performing surgery there on that second outside zone. Drops into formation, and now finishing out. Von gets a little squirrely Dan there. Let's take a look at this again. Ryan, what are your thoughts here? Taking a look at again, Vaughn on his initiation wasn't as high. It was unlike Vaughn.
Yeah, it looked like he was got much more aggressive after. I think he kind of realized he had a little bit of a flub there on initiation, but he kind of gets back in tow. He's on a slightly lower line here. He's got left foot braking going on. Essa's pretty smooth and consistent up top. I love that transition, but he pulled a little bit of angle out of the car. Now Vaughn is starting to attack here. He's finding areas where he can get on the inside, but stay at the right line with Michael Essa, and that's a great display there, though he does go a little bit wide. He's following Michael Essa where he goes.
Michael S. had an interesting line going from outside zone 1 to outside zone 2, and he looked great on outside zone 1. He put the car in the right place. When he transitioned 1 to 2, he came up, and he actually was a little bit short of the outside zone 2, which I think threw Vaughn off because he's already thrown off. I'd love to see side-by-side overhead. I think that would be really interesting as well. Kind of both drone cams overhead. If we could mimic that. So let's take a look as we get those gentlemen back to the line. Here is another look. So look at Essa high on the bank, consistent. No hiccups. Watch this line. Again, the overhead. Snappy transition from Essa.
Yeah.
That was nasty. But when he did it, it looked like he came up a little bit short on that second outside zone.
Oh, absolutely. And you can tell how the bumps affect some of the drivers if they're at the right lock position or wrong in that case. And it kind of messes them up. We can see Vaughn here. It looks like he's trying to clear that bumper out. I believe that happened right at the end of outside zone 3, and we'll get the second half of the battle underway.
Vaughn, your defending champion. Michael Essa, a former FD champ. So 10 years separating the two championships, 2010, 2020 for Vaughn. Nitrous being purged on both vehicles. The Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. The Mach-E 1400 over there at Goodwood Festival Speed right now. A crazy Ford all-electric vehicle being piloted over at Goodwood Festival Speed. Here we go. Now it's all about Vaughn Gittin Jr. in that first outside zone. Looking a lot more comfortable. Throwing some more angle at it. Let's see how he handles it. And there's that crease playing a role here. Oh, wow. Essa, really well done. Just barely letting that vehicle pass right in front of him. But Vaughn sets it and forgets it. Oh, looks like we got a little love tap or a hate tap there towards the end, Ryan.
That was one of the best crossover tuck-ins that I've seen, leaving outside zone 2, going into outside zone 3 from Essa. I think it's just going to be how consistent was he on the remainder of the course. Now, you don't want to give Vaughn Gittin Jr. that much of a gap, right? That's a 3-4 car gap. And Vaughn is not running away, right? He's staying mid-high line. He comes mid-line on the exit, right at the edge of outside zone 2. But boom, Essa right there, tucks up on the inside. Great job there. But then he kind of reduces the angle, and he doesn't stick to it until we get to this latter part here where he is on the right line and angle. And we are going to see the side-by-side. And you already know this is going to be a tough battle to call, because we did have
here we go. Love this angle.
Some highlights from both drivers, but here it is one more time.
So you can see the BC Racing side-by-side instant replay going for the gold. So coming down, watch. So Essa has a snappy transition. Vaughn is more fluid. He puts all of his vehicle in an outside zone. Yeah, as you said, Ryan, Essa just tucks right in. Let's see how long they stay in that final outside zone. Looks like Vaughn stays in. Essa, Vaughn applies some pressure. They leave it about the same time. Again, trying to, one eye going for each screen here. But love that overhead. And then when it goes for the side-by-side, I think it really breaks it down. Shout out TJ Hunt. Sheesh. Thanks for watching, TJ. Hashtag FD Erie. Hashtag FDERIE. Ryan is, if you're a judge, imagine in a world where Ryan Sage is a judge.
Yeah.
Which way would you go?
Well, I don't want to say until the scores are in, because I don't want people to think that we influence.
Oh, they already think that. It's already done. It's already done. we're the fourth and the fifth judge. You know that, right?
I'll write it down on paper right now. Ready? Here we go.
Yeah, throw it across the table. Make me an offer I can't refuse. Here we go. Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets 1 vote and now 2 votes. And it is unanimous. So Vaughn Gittin Jr. gets the victory. Lorette Nickel, let's throw it down to you. Another champ in the mix with Freddie.
Well, Frederick Osbo takes the win against Rome Charpentier, but not without some controversy. What's your side of that battle?
Well, it was a good battle. We tried to stick a good lead run. Probably wasn't my best lead run, but we had a little bit of a gap. And in the chase, I really tried to stick it to Rome. I knew he would be faster than me in turn 2, but that we would probably be faster in turn 1 and 3. We tried to capitalize on that. Came up on him, gave him a little tap there at the end of turn 3, and I guess sent him off course. So he had trouble keeping that together there. Judges couldn't clearly see if that was my fault or Rome's fault for not holding it together. Made it one more time, and he ended up spinning in the same spot. But all in all, great seeing Rome getting his first top 16. He's in the big show now, which is great to see, but we took the win, and here we go into top 8.
Frederick, thanks so much. And Rome Charpentier came over and said that he had run out of tires. Guys.
Okay, great clarification. So when you're running out of tires, it gets really slick. You're maxing out the angle. You got rubber. You know, no grip. You're gonna spin.
He's not pushing back on it, right? He's acknowledging it there, which it's always nice when a driver does that. And in that situation, it would have been very easy to be like, nah.
All right, here we go to our final battle, top 16. Odie Bakshi, second in points. Taylor, full pull hole. Woo! Goes for the gusto, but ends up having to back off. Odie Bakshi's screaming into that second outside zone, and Taylor Hull just absolutely giving it the beans. And Odie Bakshi's continues on through the course. Ryan, well executed by Odie Bakshi's. Taylor Hull, man, this guy is absolutely possessed. On initiation, goes for it on that second outside zone. What's going through his head?
Yeah, two odd things there. The initiation by Hull, super aggressive, but take a look at Odie. He initiates, he starts getting back on throttle. It looked like a little bit late there. We didn't see the smoke line until he started getting past our signs. And then Hull surges forward. He bounds up here, spins out, and so the remainder of the run, Odie's got to finish it. But I definitely want to get a little bit of some insight on that initiation there from Odie. Typically, we start seeing smoke piling up much sooner before then.
All right, we are back to the start. Let's take a look at this. What is going down? I'm yelling timber. Here goes Taylor Hull. Comp cams, necks and tires. Yellow speed suspension. Look, Molly, Cadillac ATSV. She's got a big heart. Here we go. Let's go. Taylor Hull, full pull. Odie Bakshi's, you can see him working it to the side. Both these guys a little wavering, but Taylor Hull max angle there. And there's that suspension coming into play. Filling that second outside zone. Both these gentlemen dialing in. Man, the transition that Taylor Hull has, I mean, the car is definitely bouncing. It's floating across the track. But I just like how nasty and aggressive he is. Does it work here? TBD.
As a driver, he has certainly come up quite a few notches over the past couple of years, especially with the top 10 finish last year. I think we still have an unanswered question from that first run, which I definitely want to get to with the judges. This second run, though, much cleaner. You see both guys, the smoke line kind of starts right around the same time. Hull driving that high line. Now he's coming down mid. This is where the judges want to see you go. Gets to that second outside zone in a really aggressive way and was able to hold it without going off course. But here's Odie kind of sticking with them pretty much throughout the entirety of the course. He's not door to door, but he's keeping that proximity on. So I feel like we need to address, obviously, the apparent incomplete by Taylor Hull on before outside zone 2 with a spin, right? That's an incomplete as it stands by itself individually. But I still feel like I have an unanswered question with Odie on the initiation.
Yeah, you really caught that eagle-eye cherry over here as we got the Osprey in the sky. So, yeah, that was interesting. Taylor was aggressive, but the judges are actually requesting an overhead look. Here it is. So Odie Bakshi's initiates. Yeah, it looked like he initiated and maybe just balked a moment, just that beat, and that makes all the difference in the world when you're entrusting that lead car to go at it.
Well, let's just say that he did do that, right? And he comes out like Soren says, I missed a gear or something like that or whatever. Then the question becomes, what impact did it have on Taylor in that part of the course? It didn't seem to have too much of an impact on Taylor. Where Taylor made his mistake was at the beginning of outside zone 2.
Yeah, you did see Taylor get thrown off, and we've talked about it for years. Once you get thrown off of that line, and you kind of, you've had so many turns at this course, it's hard to recalibrate.
Yeah, and then becomes, okay, if you do recalibrate, when is it okay to say that you have done that, right? that now from here on out, if you make mistakes, it's on you.
Yep.
Right?
Yep. Like, I've had enough. Throw your hands up. You know, I'm out. I'm out. All right, so here we are. We are taking a look at it again. So here's Odie leading, initiates.
See, the smoke line for him starts later than Taylor's. And it just didn't seem like a fluid initiation, an aggressive, moving forward.
Taylor flicks it.
Notice on the momentum map, it's a very
sliver.
Yeah, it's a sliver, right? It's like
That was a solid. Impersonation of an LS initiation with a sliver of a hesitation.
Well.
What do we have here? Judges are still deliberating this one, and Ryan, now we can start talking about not envying the judges, as well as second place in points. Odie Bakshis.
Yeah.
We talked about quietly, just consistently going at it. So here it is again. Look at this. So really analyzing it.
So he gets initiated, right? Brakes a little
tap,
bit, and he's not fully on throttle until past the link sign out there. But I like your question about the recalibration, right? And when should you be recalibrated? Because that right there, that spin, that seems like that should be at that point. You're further down into the run to where the effects of the initiation should have taken hold, right? And you have time to get back and be like, okay. And so, look, that's a sliver, right? Compared to much wider momentum zone before outside zone 2.
Yep. And we use the term momentum as opposed to decel, where momentum is basically you don't need to be on power, right? So you don't need to be on throttle. It's a better way of saying decel, because we not necessarily want you to slam on the brakes because it's a decel zone, dude. I can do whatever I want. No, it's a fluid forward motion without being under power.
Well, the way it works is we take data off the cars and we see where they have those changes in momentum, and then we mark it on the course. And those are the two areas that we saw.
All right. Hey, how are we doing out there, Lake Erie? You guys having fun? Make some noise. My buddy Brandon's watching from home, and he says, I don't know, are these guys having fun out here or what? So I need you to stomp your feet. Who do we got? Odie Bakshis or Taylor Hull? And it looks like they are going OMT across the board. Ryan.
Got to explain that.
Yeah. So Lantagne throwing down to our Canadian confidant, the maple syrup crusher, the poutine punisher, Ryan Lantagne.
I don't like that. Anyway, I'm joking. So looking at what we just watched, we looked at the replay over and over and over, as you saw. We were trying to see if Odie did get back on throttle late, and it looks like he did. Now, that caused him to be a little bit low on outside zone 1 in the chase position. We're talking about Taylor here, because he was trying to be aggressive in the chase, which we really appreciate. We like that. We want to see that. So he was he was definitely affected by what Odie did in the lead position. Now, the spin that happened here on the infield at outside zone 2, is that affected? Was he affected by that up until that point? Like, it's really difficult for us to say how that affected him in that series kind of way. So we kind of thought, let's give them another chance to start this over again from scratch and not hold either one of them responsible, and hopefully we can find a winner.
Thank you so much, Ryan Lantagne. So, Ryan, what we actually have here is we are going to go over the Adam LZ Chelsea Nova recaps, because earlier today we did lose, LZ fans blowing up the internet, and this is what transpired. Adam LZ initiates with Chelsea Nova in tow. LZ initiates, you can see him, Chelsea Nova applying the pressure here. Now coming down in that transition, LZ, good transition. Chelsea Nova, he turns it up to 11. Now in that second outside zone, both of them doing a really good job. And now into that third outside zone, both of them going to the outside of that line and the course edge. Chelsea going a little bit deeper, but now is where things shake it up, is in the second run with Adam LZ in chase.
I would say the needle there was leading towards the Nova, but not by a lot. And then you see LZ make that mistake. And as we said here to the live audience, you really can't do that against Chelsea DeNova. You give him an inch, he's going to take a foot. You give him a foot, he's going to take a mile. And that's pretty much what happens here. He does not look back, does not make a mistake, and that ends the day for Adam LZ.
Yeah, so that's what transpired earlier for all the LZ fans and, of course, Chelsea Denofa fans. But there it is. We have 7 drivers currently in the Great 8. When we come back, we'll either be seeing the battle of one more time of Odi Bakshis and Taylor Hull, or we'll see Denofa and Taguchi. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful evening. It's been a great day. Thank you so much, Lake Erie Speedway. This has been a great event here. Round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship.
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
My name is Farouk Kouaim.
Hey, I'm Justin Pollock. What's up? I'm Jeff Jones. Hey guys, Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro 1 driver, and I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
What's up, everyone? We're pumped to announce Ford's Drift to Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a newly redesigned 2021 F-150 Raptor featuring Fox shocks with live valve technology, 5-link rear suspension, and Recaro seats.
Or you can win a 2021 Ford Mustang GT convertible, which you can shred the tires with 460 horsepower and 6 styling.
All you have to do is head to drifttodirt.com and enter to win.
NGK makes ignition coils. Why? Because we prefer a running partner that can keep pace. We know ignition, and since our spark plugs don't run alone, we put some of our energy and expertise into making better coils. NGK ignition coils are engineered to OE durability and performance. And because we race to win, we improve the design, testing, and validation of our coils for better performance. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. NOS, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. NOS High Performance Energy. How hard will you drive? Welcome back. The sun almost going down here. Oh, what a great venue. This has been tremendous. You know, again, the great thing about ending Top 32 early was that 2-hour break, and I think the fans really appreciated that here in the building. So more incentive to join us at future rounds of the Formula Drift Pro and Pro Spec Championship. Remember, we're in Seattle for our next round. Gonna take a look at the schedule here, and as Evergreen Speedway, always a good time at Evergreen. We will be up there at July 30th and July 31st. And then, Ryan, we're going to be in Long Beach, streets of Long Beach, the 17th and 18th. And then finally, October 22nd and 23rd, Irwindale Speedway, playing host to a culmination of 18th season of Formula Drift. Ryan, who's going to be the champion this year? Can you tell me that? I know you've already mapped it all out. Right. It's like choose your own adventure.
Well, we should talk to the champ from last year first, because maybe he can give us some insight.
Oh. Woo!
every bit of it.
Well, Vaughn Gittin Jr. is a man of many, many talents. And earlier today, he was saying he was in a mental place where he wasn't that comfortable with the track. But after that last battle, it seems like you've really gotten through that.
Yeah, I really needed it. You know, it's been a really weird weekend with, you know, new track, not getting a ton of laps, the rain coming in, and then today's practice, we literally got 1 lap, and I just didn't get to where I usually want to be before top 32. But I really needed that run with ESSA. It allowed me to implement everything my team and I have been working on, and yeah, I just saw the results, earned the results, and looking forward to the rest of the night. It's pretty amazing. I do want to give a shout out to everyone here in Pennsylvania, seeing all these amazing new faces come out. It's pretty rad. It feels real good.
And you love this track so far?
I'm enjoying it. I think there's a few things that we can work on. It's a little bit weird coming off the bank like that. Outer zone 2 to 3 does not have a really good flow. So I think there's some things, you know, we've been talking about in the drivers meeting. So it's what we've got this weekend, but I think it's going to get better and better as we continue to come back here. So really pumped.
Strategy moving forward?
What's that? Strategy moving forward is to do more of what I just did. We learned a couple things. The track's starting to grip up a lot, so we're making a couple adjustments just so that we can be a bit smoother if we get behind someone a bit slower. But other than that, yeah, really feeling good and just pumped to be back in my head where I need to be for the weekend.
Vaughn, thank you so much. Guys.
Thank you so much, Lorette. And taking a look at it, Vaughn Gittin Jr. was 9th in points coming in this round of competition. Justin Pollock was just ahead of him in 8th. And with Ryan Turk going out, who's sitting in 7th, Kazuya Taguchi in at Dean. So definitely shaking up the points, Ryan, as far as championship goes. And like he says, do more of that, a.k.a. win.
Well, we saw really the tides turn for him last year, right? Back-to-back wins at Seattle, and I know that he loves that track. That's coming up next round. So, you know, Vaughn has these moments where he's really taken the moment and the opportunity and seized on it, and that's a moment and an opportunity. You've got those guys that you just said have gone out, and he's in. That means he's going to jump right up in points, and the way that the points are compressed now, that's really going to be a big benefit to him.
And what also could manifest itself is that man right there warming up his tires, that is Odi Bakshis, who's going for it one more time. He's 2nd in points. So if he gets knocked out, that could be interesting. Also, Vaughn Gittin Jr. could go against him, could be in charge of his own fate. But here are our season standings. Again, our 15. Field, Odi.
Out, in, right?
Yep. Yeah, out of those 5 drivers you see 6th through 10th, Vaughn's the only one remaining. And Odi is about to go. Taylor Hull would love to play spoiler. Travis Reeder, he got knocked out earlier. Jones knocked out. Eve Meyer got knocked out. Eve Meyer is in. I apologize. I digress. Eve Meyer is in as he took out Dan Burkett. Our Pedal Commander Burnout Box being utilized once again for this one more time battle. All right. And the Comp Cams Liquimolly Cadillac ATS-V of Taylor Hull. In the Burnout Box, Odi Bakshis already over there to the line for our Royal Purple Top 16 continuation. Our final battle going to that one more time. So let's see who comes out on top. The Lithuanian driver and the now Georgia resident Taylor Hull. He calls Georgia home. Definitely a sweetheart of a man. Him and his family, always great. Really wants to put it down for his town. Odi Bakshis had his daughter out there as well and for the opening ceremonies. Odi Bakshis will lead. Odi Bakshis qualifying 6th, Taylor Hull 11th. Now keep in mind that was in wet conditions if you're just tuning in yesterday. All wet qualifying. I know, quite a contrast. Nice, good breeze blowing through, clearing out the smoke, and dry conditions. Here we go, Odi Bakshis coming down toe-to-toe, tip-to-tail. And now Odi Bakshis, much more proper, straightforward initiation. You can see a quick little yank of the brake, now dropping into that second outside zone. Odi Bakshis, you can see the posture of the vehicle. Oh, look at Taylor Hull, nice transition there. Odi Bakshis looks like he doesn't exceed that track line. Taylor Hull hammering down, look at this. Who is this intimidator? Full pull, Hull slamming into the side from the top rope.
Taylor Hull has really found an incredible and unorthodox but beautiful way to get into outside zone 2 in the chase. This time around, though, in the lead, Odie much cleaner. You can see Taylor pretty much within a car's length. Good battle here. He could have washed out right there in the chase, but he doesn't. Gets back into it, bouncing around, and is able to get into that outside zone and fill it pretty much right on the same line with Odie Bakshis. Now here as we get into outside zone 3, again, Odie trying to find that right line. You see the tap, 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 and he stays in it. So great job by Odie Bakshis. Aggressive driving there by Taylor Hull. We are seeing Taylor go back into the loading area, and obviously if that is the case, he may need to fix the vehicle. I do not think that the judges will give him, they will give him fault for the contact.
Right.
So he may have to burn a competition timeout here.
Yeah, we're seeing Amy Bakshis, Odie's wife and spotter, up here inquiring to find out who was at fault. Obviously, Taylor's at fault in that scenario. I don't think he was slowed down. I don't think Odie slowed down at all. That was fluid. Glad there wasn't any scenario of that of Osbo and Rome. But I think this is Taylor Hull just really manifesting over the years, just his aggressive personality, him coming out and just really going after it. So taking a look at the replay, Ryan, I mean, I'd have to think Taylor Hull's at fault here.
Yeah, I mean, Odie's not on the brakes. We're not seeing a major slowdown from him. Now this is the textbook definition, Formula Drift textbook definition of contact, right? We have contact, but the run doesn't stop.
Right.
And when that happens, the cars may still need to be inspected, and if fault is given, it doesn't necessarily mean that there's something like an equivalent to an incomplete. That's when the run stops, right? But what this does do is allow the person that's not at fault to utilize time without having to use a competition timeout.
Yeah.
The other person who is at fault would need to burn a competition timeout if they have it and if they need to repair their vehicle.
Hey, Ryan, have we gotten who's at fault yet? All right. Just want to make sure. Believe. So if Taylor Hull is not at fault, he called that comp timeout. Let's see what transpired. All right, so yeah, the judges are saying Taylor Hull is at fault. So Taylor Hull would need to utilize his competition timeout. 5-minute clock is there, Ryan.
Yeah, so I think what we intuited there turned out to be true. You see our competition director there, Kevin Wells, putting the comp time out for Taylor Hull. This will be his one and only burn. We saw Matt Field burn one a little bit earlier as well. So this is an example here of him needing to use it because there may be some damage to the vehicle.
All right, our NGK competition timeout. When we come back, we will finish out the second half of this battle. There's that Edelbrock as we are getting going here. Here we go. When we come back, the continuation of Odie and Taylor Hull.
Your body is a machine. 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
Yo, Chelsea, the coloring on our NGK spark plugs looks incredible for handling 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah, I know. I've been telling you for years. I've been running NGK plugs, and they're awesome. Did you know that NTK is part of the NGK family, and they make all sorts of sensors like O2 sensors, temperature, pressure, position, and ignition coils.
I did not know that, but maybe we can talk them into making proximity sensors to help you with your bumper budget.
Now available at Advanced Auto Parts and CarQuest Auto Parts stores.
All right, Laurent Nickel, down to you. What's going on in the pits?
Taylor Hull, can you tell everyone what happened?
Basically, a plug wire fell off, and the car was kind of spitting and popping a little bit. I can't believe I was able to keep up with Odie there. I haven't been able to keep up with Odie on 8 cylinders before, much less 7, so that was kind of wild. But the car was, like I say, kind of breaking up, and it was wanting to straighten up several times, and I bumped Odie, and it kind of got him out of shape a little bit. So sorry to Odie. If I'd have let out, he would have, or I would have straightened out, and the run would have been over. And it looked like he kind of started to spin, so I just bumped him a little further forward and straightened him back out, and we finished up. So should be good to go now.
All right. Well, the clock is still running. We're at 45 seconds, and I also heard that you said you were so mad that run, but you couldn't believe that you had as much grip as you did.
Yeah, it was pretty wild. We're going to go see if we can finish it off and take this thing to top 8.
Start that car, Taylor, because the clock is still running. We're at 30 seconds. There we go. All good. Guys, back up to you.
Right on. Thank you, Laurent. Getting the nitty-gritty down there with Taylor Hull, and he's pulling out of his pits, and it looks like he's good to go. Good attitudes all around in regards to, you know, what's transpired here. 10 seconds, right?
Wow. Yeah. Right in the nick of time, and down to cylinder, it sounds like. But we will see the resumption of this battle, and unfortunately it comes at the end of the bracket, and typically we can't move forward into the next round, which would be the grade 8, until we have this battle finished. So we've seen it, the first half.
Yep.
Now it's time to get the second half and get this show underway. We do know that Taylor Hull was at fault. It may not have any impact on the judging whatsoever because it did not result in a collision where the run stopped. He was definitely driving aggressively. He'll get marks for that. He'll also get some potential down marks for making contact, but Odie stayed in it. So the result basically was we just had a really close battle there.
Yep. All right, so let's see the second half of this. Warming up the tires there. Odie Bakshis, Taylor Hull just sitting outside. Remember, we already have Denofa against Kazuya Taguchi. Matt Field versus Dylan Hughes. Frederick Osbo versus Eve Meyer, and Vaughn Gittin Jr. versus the winner of this battle. Pedal Commander Burnout Box. Pedal Commander sponsoring Odie Bakshis. Pulls to the line. Now remember, Taylor Hull will now lead because this is the second portion of this run. We just saw. Yeah, you got to think what's going through Odie's head right now in regards to points championship. I have to think that he's not even thinking about it at all. He's going day by day, event by event.
I think that's right. I think, you know, the championship mentality is one battle at a time, and then think about what you need to do after the event. And I feel like Odie is so balanced and centered. He's just focusing on getting through this next battle. But Taylor Hull, as he said, by his own admission, was surprised he was able to keep up with the grip of Odie, and he was driving tremendously in certain areas of the course. I really like the way that he attacked outside zone number 2, but now he's got to take the lead against one of the best chase drivers in the game.
Taylor Hull leading that comp cams, next to tires, Liquid Molly, Edo Brock, Cadillac ATS-V, Odie Bakshis, look at that, the Type S lights blowing them up. In that first outside zone, both of them absolutely on fire. Down to that second outside zone, shredding that front bumper, Odie Bakshis. Leaving it all out here on the track, literally and figuratively, as Taylor Hull in that outside zone. Odie Bakshis right there. Let's see if he's going to give him a little love tap as well. Some great driving by both these drivers. Wow.
That was insane.
Yo.
Odie Bakshis turned it up another level, and it could only have happened because Taylor Hull gave him a great lead run to follow. And that's what we love about this sport. When both drivers are pushing the limits, you see that initiation together. Hull is on a high line, but so is Odie Bakshis. He's following it as close as he can. So close on that crossover. Great job there. stays in the line with Taylor on the crossover out of outside zone 2 into 3. Only right there for a second does he reduce angle for a little bit, but right back in the pocket there again. Absolutely incredible.
Just nerves of steel here for Odie Bakshis. I want to see him on the entrance of that third outside zone. It kind of gets lost in the smoke, but that's, yeah, you see him dive in. He does make contact, so these guys are battered and banged up, but yeah, you see Odie go and punts it out. Looks like he does drop a tire. If there was dirt, say it was Road Atlanta, you'd see kind of little brown cloud being thrown up there, but you know,
that was the one mistake that he made, right? He went a little bit wide there, and he had to reduce angle a little bit to kind of catch up because he was on a kind of a tighter line at that point. But overall, it was tremendous from both drivers.
Really
it's a tough one for the judges here, and obviously a lot of consequences on the line for Odie Bakshis as a championship contender, but also Taylor Hull, who's continued to make his mark on the series.
Yeah, just the excitement level that Taylor Hull brings on his runs, especially here this weekend and progressing. Taylor Hull sitting 29th in points overall, but that's not the real story with Taylor Hull, just his determination to get on the box, to get on the podium as you look at it side by side.
Yeah, and so you get the side-by-side, me looking right now, I'm looking at Hull in the chase position, and I like the way that he attacked outside zone 2, right? So the judges are going to be looking at what was the proximity, the line, the duration of proximity has been something that has been spoken about a lot, and this is where the contact is made. I mean, you can't get much closer than that. So Car 82 and Odie Bakshis awaiting the judges' result here, the final battle of the top 16.
All right, both these drivers just absolutely knackered, and you could see just, you know, carbon and Kevlar and metal just down. I mean, this has got to be some of the best driving we've seen from Taylor Hull, and you got to love it. All right, let's see what we got. Waiting for the outcome here. Let's move it along, fellas. Yeah. License registration, please. Odie with the lights there. Shout out to, again, to Rut, local Georgia boy as well. Randy Johnson, we're going to see you there. Randy and Ryland in just a little bit. Evergreen Speedway, the end of the month, July 30th and 31st. So hopefully all you PNW residents, buy your tickets now. What's going on here? Ryan, what are we waiting on here, bud? Buffering still?
Well, I would imagine there's probably a request for a final replay. Is that what's going on here? Oh. Okay, yeah, so results are in.
All right, waiting for the outcome here, our three judges. All right, and looks like all right, scores are in. And it looks like a one more time there from Chris Yule. Ryan Lantan says Odie Bakshis, and one more time. They're going at it again.
Again?
And boos are pouring over the crowd right now here, Ryan.
I feel like now the competition staff is going to have to move forward here. We can't wait for another one more time, and we are seeing Kazuya Taguchi coming down.
Yeah, here's the side-by-side, Ryan. Again, Odie leading on the left, Taylor Hull leading on the right.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get it, right? Like, Odie's chase run was phenomenal, and he just made that one mistake that you mentioned in outside zone 3. But Taylor Hull also, in his chase run, did not really give him too much room. I mean, you can't get much closer than that, and we're talking about halfway through outside zone 3 that he's basically punching his door in.
Yeah, and with that punching of the door, it pushed him out. So with him being, you know, off the edge of the course, I see that, you know, as you know, maybe some of the fans here locally or even online just blowing it up, saying, you know, why? Well, there's certain aspects, and you know, these guys are critics. They know the sport. They've seen a lot of runs, and they're going to overanalyze to the umpteenth degree to make sure. And again, it was still not unanimous. It was 2-1.
Yeah.
So it gets tough.
The Hawk is not digging it.
The
Osprey.
The Osprey.
It's like, yo.
The audacious Osprey.
Can't deal with it.
Here we go. Kazuya Taguchi, our first battle of the Grade 8. Kazuya Taguchi and Chelsea DeNova. Kazuya initiates in that first outside zone. And Chelsea DeNova giving himself some room. Let's see how Kazuya handles this. Up garage, ISR 86. Now into that second outside zone. Kazuya Taguchi absolutely delivering this track. Really favoring his driving style. And all the way through that final outside zone.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, a great lead run by Kazuya Taguchi, and Chelsea DeNova did not let him get away at all.
Yeah, Taguchi kind of making it a little bit clear right there in that lead run.
How you doing?
Like, hey, you're going to have to chase down a pretty solid lead run, and he does just that. DeNova in the chase. Like you said, he gives him a little bit of room on initiation here, and you have to wonder if that's him thinking, you know what, I've probably got more grip in the car. I'm going to reel him in here, then stick it door to door coming off the zone number 1. Taguchi was just at the edge of outside zone 2, so that's an area that DeNova could potentially improve on in his lead. But DeNova surges forward, no contact, stays pretty tight there through the final part of outside zone 2. But Kazuya Taguchi, solid lead run to kick things off.
Here we are in the Link Engine Management Top 8, the Great 8. DeNova will now lead. Kazuya Taguchi will give chase. And here we go with the second half of this battle. See how Chelsea handles this. And there it is, the all-new Toyota, excuse me, they just debuted the all-new Toyota Tundra. Toyota loaning that vehicle for the entirety of the season. And the FD 2020 Toyota Tundra TRD Pro is on track, shows durability, versatility, and reliability. So we've driven that to each round so far and to the rest of the events. Also, the brand new 2022 Tundra was just revealed and looks even beefier. So take a look, the Toyota Tundra. Here we are looking at Odi Bakshis' vehicle. That Vortex supercharged, and this thing seen better days. Leave it on him. He shredded both the front and rear bumper. Vortex supercharged LS. And we are clear to send. Second half of this battle, Chelsea DeNova out front, Taguchi in the chase position. BC Racing Ditto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. Chelsea DeNova initiates. Great angle from Chelsea DeNova. Now Chelsea flexing his muscles out front. Kazuya had a great lead run, but Chelsea was maybe tempering the flame as now they go that second outside zone. Transition that final outside zone goes Chelsea. There's that bumper budget that the RTR team always talks about. Chelsea DeNova clicking another bank, another bumper in that bank.
Seems like people are starting to get the hang of the course now.
Yeah, it got really interesting early on. Where do you think was the most difficult section of this track for drivers previously?
Outside zone 2.
Yeah, I would say 1 to 2.
Yeah.
That transition going off the bank into 2. Some would just kind of go straight and then bounce out.
Speeds are picking up. You know, it's one of those kind of things that drivers have to recalibrate. In this battle here with DeNova, he does get a gap on Taguchi on outside zone 1. Taguchi came up a little bit short on outside zone 2 in his chase, but he kind of stayed in the game for the most part. He really pushed the pressure there, stayed in the smoke line or right to the side of the smoke line on that final outside zone. But let's take a look at the onset. You can see DeNova starts to walk on Kazuya Taguchi. Now coming down into this section here, really tough part. DeNova's going to hit just the edge. Look how much further on the inside Taguchi is in his chase run. So that's a mistake there in the chase for Taguchi, but here much better. Much more on the line with DeNova and kind of stayed right in proximity, so he got some back there. And one more look at it here from the crow's nest. You can see that's the area where he walks. and you don't want to give that gap to Denofa. I like the way that he surged forward, and he probably felt like he needed to cut the line here a little bit to gain proximity, because for the remainder of 2 and 3, he was able to kind of keep it within half a car length to maybe a couple inches there towards the end.
Do we have a verdict? Do we have a winner? Who's moving on to the Final Four? And we are waiting to find out. All right, it is unanimous. We get a winner. It is Chelsea Denofa. Denofa gets the win. Chelsea Denofa gets the victory and moves on to the Final Four. Now, Ryan, you know, Denofa shaking things up here as now
That froze again.
the All-American machine of the Drift Cave owner, Matt Field. Now, Matt called his competition timeout earlier today, right before going into top 32 against Dai Yoshihara. He utilized that. Now he's going against Dylan Hughes. And
Let's see this Final Four.
as you can see the Permatex BMW with the 2J. What do you got, Ryan?
Tell me if this is interesting to you. You have Field that is trying to get into the Final Four. You have Bakchis that's trying to get into the Great 8. You've got Osborne that's trying to get into the Final Four. That's 1, 2, 3 right there, right?
Yeah.
So this next battle, plus the one more time of Bakchis and Hull, and then the first battle that we're going to see on the right-hand side of the bracket between Osbo and Meyer is basically, will those top 3 stay in that order? If one of those guys goes out, especially if Bakchis goes out in the Grade 8, that's going to give a bigger advantage to Field and an opportunity to Osbo.
Well,
which we're going to see basically in the next 5 to 10 minutes.
Well, we've seen 2 one more times between Odie and Hull, right? So we could see 1, 2, 3, 4 in the Final Four because Chelsea's sitting in 4th points.
Making it real clear.
Making it real clear.
Adding a different layer to it.
Yeah, right. So could literally see 1 through 4, which would, you know, separate them from the rest of the pack. And we always talk about this, you know, just only so many points separating them. But a lot of drifting left. I'm talking about the whole season, even tonight as well. There's Dylan Hughes, road to here, the top 16. Now he's going against the points leader, Matt Field, the Falcon Tires, Drift Cave, Boral Exhaust, Lucas Oil. Can you feel the heat wave? Heat wave visuals, shades under the helmet. Matt Field, like I said, so fresh and so lean. Then Dylan Hughes.
It's sad to see that James Pollock out.
Permatex,
Yeah,
GT Radial, BMW. Our first portion of this battle, run 1 between these 2 gentlemen. Our points leader and the Dozer trying to take him down. Matt Field initiates, Dylan Hughes right there. Backs off a little bit, has to make a correction. But Matt Field, great posture there, and Dylan Hughes a major correction. Coming off that bank. Now out of that second outside zone into the third outside zone. Looks like Dylan has found his sweet spot. And Matt Field, even just a bit sweeter there all the way through the entirety of the course.
Dylan Hughes was playing a really risky game there, but I feel like he had to. And it's going to end up biting him, at least on the first half of this run. But we've seen this aggressive approach from the chase drivers. They accelerate a little bit longer. They try to get in the pocket and stay with that lead driver. Hughes does that. He has to fall off, but it's not here until he gets pinched by Field coming off the bank, and then he makes that big correction there following that maneuver. And that looked like an independent mistake there that just was coming from an over-aggressive approach, leaving outside zone 1. Notice how much grip the car has, though, to catch up to Field in outside zone 3. It just tells you where Dylan is with the vehicle development right now, and definitely gives you an idea of the opportunities that could be available to him if he can kind of dial in some of these other elements. Made that mistake. He's got to go to the lead now, see if Matt Field can make something equal, but somebody's moving on into the Final Four.
All right, so Dylan Hughes will now get the clean air Fresh air out front. What do you got? The Permatex BMW initiates. And Matt Field right there. Dylan, great angle. Solid initiation. Oh, and we got a tap. Let's see how he handles that. Manages it, no problem. Into that second outside zone. Taking that love tap. Look at that, continuing on. A great effort from both these guys. An effort and a delivery. Stand and deliver. And bring it across that finish line. Ryan, we've seen a lot of contact, and that was sick. That was awesome. Absolutely just a sweet tap in that transition.
If Dylan Hughes loses this battle because of the straighten in his chase run, he deserves a round of applause for taking a beating from Matt Field coming off the bank and staying in it and finishing the run. Great job by both drivers here. Look at that. Almost equal angle. Boom. And right there, big tap. Big tap. I mean, that's a punch by Matt Field coming off the bank from Dylan Hughes. Doesn't matter. Here I go. I'm going to continue to finish the run. And look at this. Even get some back on Field as Field kind of gets lost in the smoke for a second, has to find himself and then finish the run. But I think it's going to come down to the severity of that straighten from Dylan Hughes.
Real quick, was the contact made due to some slowing down?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was. He was left foot braking on the bank, and that's perfectly acceptable by the judges as long as the momentum is staying consistent. That's a technique that drivers use in the modern era to control these 1,000 horsepower vehicles.
Right.
But I think you're right. There was a slight decrease in the smoke line from Dylan Hughes, and he may have run into a similar issue as Brandon Sorensen, but for a different reason. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, just take a look at it here. Look at this angle. You can see, look at that front left, just absolutely just being checked up. Little break in the smoke. He might have saved him. He might have straightened out. You know, he might have said, "Here you go, buddy. See this land? This is all yours." He says, "Ha,
let me help you."
He lifted him up. So, all right, it is unanimous. Matt Field gets the win. Matt Field gets the win, and he will be moving on. So our current points leader, Matt Field, gets the win and advances on. It'll be Denofa and Field in the final four.
Insane. It's literally my favorite driver.
Man, this track is turning out to be, again, just at first glance, you know, pretty simple, pretty straightforward, but at second and third and fourth and fifth hit, it's not as easy as it looks.
Yeah, there's, you know, in designing courses, there's a, you know, kind of a debate that goes on about should the course be designed to be challenging for the drivers or easy enough to be good for the fans that promotes close tandem drifting. Now, I more tend to lead towards the latter. I want to see really close tandem. I want the drivers to be challenged as well, but I want them to be comfortable enough to push the limits of the cars as maximum as they possibly can to give us the greatest possible show. Now, this track is not easy by any stretch of the imagination because you have, coming off that bank, you've got that crease, you've got kind of that little bit of an orthodox swing to the right to try to get that car into outside zone 2. But so far, it has provided some pretty entertaining moments.
Most definitely. So here we go with the second one more time, the third battle between these gentlemen. And here we go. We are seeing Odi Bakshis. Odi Bakshis will lead. Taylor Hole will chase for the third time between these two gentlemen. Odi Bakshis initiates not as high as we've seen from previous battles. And now comes into that second outside zone. Taylor Hole falls back quite a bit. Not as aggressive as we've seen from him in previous battles. And now into that final outside zone goes Odi Bakshis and Taylor Hole. So unfortunately, maybe, you know, a little bit of wear and tear on both the driver and the vehicle. But yeah, let's take a look at it.
Seemed like Odi put a little bit more in the car this time around. He's kind of able to hold off Taylor Hole in important parts of the track, like this big bank here. He's on a mid-high line. He comes down in the right section on outside zone 2, fills it completely. Taylor just not really given an opportunity to attack in the same way that he did on those one more time battles. And even here towards the end, he still is able to give a car length there to Odi Bakshis towards the end. So I think if you're a spotter for Bakshis, he's done his job on run number 1, but we still have 50% of the battle left to go. And now Taylor Hole gets an opportunity to lead.
And we will be taking, if we get a winner, no, we will be advancing on to Osbo and Eve Meyer, which is great, so that'll work. And then shortly thereafter, we'll go from Gittin to the winner of this battle. So Von Gittin Jr. waits in the wing. Von Gittin Jr. doing battle with the winner here, either Taylor Hull, who's leading, or Odie Bakshis. Taylor Hull initiates. Look at that. You see Odie Bakshis flexing on a little bit higher there, but we want to see them mimic that angle and their line. So how is this going to fare? Oh, wow. Great lead run by Taylor Holt. Look at that snappy transition. That's what we saw from earlier. But Odie Bakshi's showing you why he's currently second in points and a real championship contender.
Everything about
he made that painfully obvious. Painfully.
Everything about that run said all out, right?
Yeah.
It didn't seem like there was much more that could be given for both drivers. And that is one of the things I love about this sport, is that you get these moments where they're pushing the cars, they're pushing their own personal skill to the level, their driver skill, everything that they've learned in leading up to this point. And we're just seeing an incredible performance out of both drivers here in the Great 8 to get into the Final 4. The one more time battle, two more time battle may come to a resolution here, but it was not without great performances by both drivers.
Yeah, round of applause for both these drivers, these two gladiators of the sport, Odie Bakshis and Taylor Hull. Slide them left for Odie, right for Taylor Hull. And hey, Taylor, Hull family, great job, but Odie Bakshis gets the win. Odie gets the win, and will be advancing on into the Great 8. Excuse me, the Final 4. Excuse me, I apologize.
Is that I'm pumped up, or is that something's going on with the car?
I think it's like, all right, that's what's up. I don't know.
Somebody said that's a fine.
Oh man, so Odie, maybe a little bit of frustration. I don't know what's going on there, but regardless, there is Matt Field throwing on some fresh Forge Star wheels, and of course Falcon tires on the corners.
What happened? You want to get hit right here?
Yeah. Oh, dude, that's taking a licking, man. So hey, Lorette, you're with from the Beast of the Bay.
Matt Field, congratulations on your win moving forward. Man, today's been a bit of a roller coaster for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's been a rough one for sure. I think I've done more working on my car and being here at the pits than I have driving it. But you know what? We'll take it any way we can get. Eve is about to go out there, and he crashed his car the last couple times he went out there, so I'm hoping we all keep it together and we move on. But it's just this track. It's a new track. Everyone's turned up, and that's how you have to be, driving at 100.
Great attitude by Matt Field, guys.
Right on. Thank you, Lorette, and great job by Lorette Nickel down there. Always love seeing her face and her insight and her field reporting. So this was Dylan Hughes and Matt Field. You see that hate tap. There's nothing lovely about that. Damage to the vehicles and just seeing that contact between the two gentlemen. Here is how the grid is shaping up, the brackets. So Chelsea Denofa and Field in the Final 4. And now we'll be seeing Frederick Osbo and Eve Meyer. So Switzerland versus Norway. And then, of course, Von Gittin Jr. and Odie Bakshis. So Von Gittin Jr. and Odie being what's scheduled to be the final battle of the Great 8. So it looks like already on the start line, Frederick Osbo, who qualified second, going against Eve Meyer. How do you pronounce that town in Switzerland?
Schweich.
Okay. Good attempt. Good attempt. It's wrong, but it's a good attempt. I don't know how to pronounce it. I'm saying you're wrong. I'm just kidding. I don't know.
Made me feel kind of bad.
I know. Sorry, bro. It was just a joke. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
It's all
it
good,
could
man.
be correct, actually. I was just joking. Here we go. The Rockstar Energy Drink, Toyota Supra, the GR Supra, Gazoo Racing, and then Eve Meyer in his Drift Force BMW. Initiating into that bank, there's Frederick Osbo going for it. Remember, your number 2 qualifier, Eve Meyer, has a big hill to climb. Going against the Norwegian Hammer, that second outside zone. Eve Meyer, you can see him just pedaling back, keeping the control. But Frederick Osbo, we saw that earlier from him today as Osbo against Rome. They had that one more time battle. So, battle the BMWs, right? You saw Rome and now here Eve Meyer.
Yeah, and Eve definitely having a coming-of-age moment here in that second outside zone where a lot of guys have been getting into trouble. Really handled that well against Osbo. Notice initiating right at the same time, keeping the same relative line, trying to gather proximity, and does a great job here in this second outside zone, not getting held up. And notice he's almost right at the line with Osbo, but Osbo sees that Eve is trying to close the door, really puts on the throttle here, establishes a gap towards the latter part of outside zone 3, and that comes on top of a near flawless lead run in almost every area of the course.
All right, let's alternate the order here, and this is where Osbo could really lock it in with a solid chase run, but I feel like he's got to tread softly. But Yves Meyer could really throw down and ruin Osbo's day. Let's see what Yves got up his sleeve. Yves Meyer initiates, and there's Osbo. No backing down from the Norwegian Hammer. Into that second outside zone, going into the crease, getting into the groove. In that second outside zone. Oh my goodness, look at that, the gold nose. Just barely letting Yves Meyer, that BMW, go by. And through the smoke, you can see the headlights shining. Look at that, Osbo backing off a little bit there. Didn't want to take out another BMW around that last third of that outside zone.
The ability for Frederick Osbo to push it up to the absolute limit has been pretty apparent in this event. And as we commented in the show open, we were still kind of waiting to see him have his breakout moment. This might be just it, because his chase runs have had these moments where he is literally inches away from the driver in front of him, not for a brief moment, but for a sustained period of time. And this outside zone 3 is another great example of what we see he is capable of as a chase driver. So tremendous job all the way around, and looks like he is really getting that vehicle dialed in. Yves, on the other hand, still a great performance from him. He is really making and creating some damage of his own in this championship chase by having some great results these past few rounds. And he's attacking Frederick Osbo in both positions, but I think Osbo just had a little bit of an edge here.
All right, slide him left for Osbo, right for Yves Meyer. I assume they're going to slide left, and there you have it. Frederick Osbo. Frederick Osbo is going to the Final Four. So we have on that left side Denova versus Field, and now on the other side Osbo versus whoever's going to win our next battle, and that is Odie Bakshies and Von Gittin Jr. And Ryan, you talked about it earlier. You know, if Odie beats Gittin, that would be our 1, 2, 3, and 4, separating themselves from the rest of the pack. So when we come back, we'll take a short break. Let's get in this Pedal Commander burnout box. One final battle of the Great 8 to keep this party going. Round 4 of the Formula Jet Pro Championship here at Lake Erie Speedway. This is Borderlands.
The Falcon Azenis RT660 is the enthusiast choice for ultra-high performance. Engineered for predictable handling and stability, the RT660 provides maximum traction both on and off the track. Your competitive edge has arrived with the Falcon Azenis RT660.
My name is Farouk Kouaim.
Hey, I'm Justin Pollock. What's up? I'm Jeff Jones. Hey guys, Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro 1 driver, and I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
I drive Link.
What's up, everyone? We're pumped to announce Ford's Drift to Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a newly redesigned 2021 F-150 Raptor featuring Fox shocks with live valve technology, 5-link rear suspension, and Recaro seats.
Or you can win a 2021 Ford Mustang GT convertible, which you can shred the tires with 460 horsepower and 6 styling.
All you have to do is head to drifttodirt.com and enter to win.
NGK makes ignition coils. Why? Because we prefer a running partner that can keep pace. We know ignition, and since our spark plugs don't run alone, we put some of our energy and expertise into making better coils. NGK ignition coils are engineered to OE durability and performance. And because we race to win, we improve the design, testing, and validation of our coils for better performance. NGK spark plugs and coils, better together.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. Royal Purple, the official engine oil of Formula Drift, the synthetic expert. NOS, the official energy drink of Formula Drift. NOS High Performance Energy. How hard will you drive?
After 2 one-more-time battles, Odie and the team working really hard on the car. But Odie, as he told me, these cars aren't designed to do battle back to back to back. So there's some work going on down here.
Yeah, you know, the car's doing great. It's doing fine. It's not overheating and nothing crazy, but I always have that notion in the back of my head, like how much performance are we leaving out on the table by running it back to back that we typically don't do in testing or any other competition with that many battles. So we're just taking a precaution and icing it down a little bit, so we're resetting to what we normally do, you know, with a little bit of break between the battles. But yeah, we're ready, we're good to go. I'm pretty excited about this.
Odie, best of luck.
Thank you, Lorette. As you can see, Odie, you know, everybody's got kind of a different protocol as far as getting in their vehicle, getting the car prepped physically, mentally, where their focus is. Ryan, what would be your protocol if you were to get? I'm joking, but everybody does have a different routine to get their mind right and obviously their vehicle right as well.
Yeah, we've seen the differences between a driver like Odie and a driver like Matt, right? And as frenemies as they are, can oftentimes be different as night and day. But when it comes down to the battling on course, they're two of the most vicious drivers that we have in the field.
1 and 2.
And we still have one more battle in the Great 8 to go. And as you said before break, it comes down to Odie Bakchis and Vaughn Gittin Jr. Gittin trying to make another run for it after the championship season last year, which saw him go back-to-back wins in Seattle, the next round coming up.
That's right.
And now trying to make a move here before the halftime break of round 4 of 8, see what he can do against a guy that's sitting second place in points. His teammate on the other side of the bracket has got to get through the leader of Matt Field. So as you said, lots of storylines pertaining to the championship happening in these final battles.
And our previous round winners, Osbo, walk us through that again. Round 1, can you recall right now? I'm trying to pull it up, but trying to recount. Obviously, our last round winner was Matt Field, but rounds 1 and 2,
Bakchis, right?
Yep, and there it is, and Chelsea DeNofa.
Yep.
So Odie started it out. Chelsea DeNofa won in Orlando, and then Matt Field. That's what I thought. I thought Chelsea had that victory, but could shake things up here. And I know the RTR boys, the Fun Havers, would love to see that toe-to-toe Mustang battle in the finals, but we could see the frenemies in the finals as well. So. Yeah, so as Odie is inching his way towards the burnout box, we'll get the Monster Energy Nitto tire, Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. And Vaughn waits, and here comes Odie Bakchis. All right, Odie, just roll right into the burnout box, and there he goes. Ryan, really excited about Seattle. Love that track, the vibe up there, really good. Monroe, Washington. What are your thoughts on moving forward after we give away the carbon fiber trophies? Seattle, of course, St. Louis, and then Long Beach. That's going to be interesting. Just Long Beach is normally at the beginning of the season, and that is the most unforgiving track, and then of course Riverdale.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, last year in COVID, we did have an event. We had 2 events, a doubleheader at Seattle, and that was great, but it was one of the ones that we felt like there was a possibility of having some fans at that track. We ended up, getting worse, and we weren't able to have that. But we had to miss Long Beach completely last year. So between Seattle and Irwindale, we at least had competition there. We did not have competition at Long Beach, so it's going to be amazing to get it back after such a long time away, similar to the experience that we had at Road Atlanta, right? I think it was 600 some odd days that we had been back there, so pretty crazy.
It was a great reunion, a family reunion, if that, since Atlanta was the first ever event. And I think there's some great history to be made here. I think we learned a lot. I think maybe even, with the local drift organizers, the course they run, you could see kind of the real swoopy one that they have here. Could we change it up? Maybe. We've done that at St. Louis. We had that really fast, high speed, utilizing that one course. But here we have this Coliseum type build out. So I think, we have a bit of a sandbox here to map it out as we take a look at all our previous champions.
Yeah, and looking at the only year missing there was 2004, and that's it's the first year Sam Gouvenet got that championship. So there's a few guys in the series now that are starting to rack up these championships, and he right there next to Odie Bachis is one of them. That's Von Gittin Jr. He's got 2. Chris Forsberg has got 3. Osbo's got 1. Yoshihara's got 1. Essa's got 1. These are guys that are still involved. Forsberg's got 3. Odie Bachis seems like he should have one. Whether it's this year or sometime in the future, he is championship caliber driver, up, left, right, and center.
Here we go. Odie Bachis will lead. Von Gittin Jr. giving chase. Our final battle of the Grade 8. Odie Bachis initiates. And you can see Von Gittin Jr. chasing him down. Might be calculating some formulas here or Odie might just be pulling away from him. Right now, Odie fills all that second outside zone. Von Gittin Jr. now maneuvers that into the third and final outside zone. Banging on the door. As Vaughn gets in the side of Odie Bachis, that very well might have shut him down. That was a just square shoulder block. That was a slam dance, little Mr. Plowjammer there.
Well, that one, unlike some of the others that we've seen here in the past few battles, didn't seem like it could be sustained as much as the others. And this is going to be the key point of the battle on this particular run, at least. Both drivers flying through the course. Odie maybe getting a little bit of edge by holding Vaughn off here. But as we get to this third outside zone, this is where we start to see drivers really compress. We get one bang there, and
see the overhead.
It looks like Odie was already going deep into that zone.
Watch.
And as he's getting right to the edge, Vaughn taps, and then Odie kind of widens out the apex there and goes off course.
Watch Odie again, though. Again, we're seeing this primarily in outside zone 1, but that overhead, watch the smoke signal. Does it dissipate because of contact? So let's take a look at this, because yeah, we're seeing a lot of different things come together here. So Ryan, watch Odie here. It doesn't look like you got a lot of whiz bangs going on there.
This one has like a more of a direct line from contact to off course. And taking a look at the line that Odie was drawing, it didn't seem like he was pushing out super wide in that section. He got wide at the beginning of outside zone 3, and some of the line is rubbed away, but there definitely is going to have to be a tough call made by the judges here.
Man, I'll tell you what, not a corner of Odie's vehicle is safe. That thing is missing bumpers, fenders, it's banged on both sides of the car. This thing absolutely taking a beating. That Falcon Tire and Fuel Suspension S15. So the paint chips on the wall as they painted it are coming off, actually, and there was a lot more yesterday, but now it seems like they're scraped them all off pretty much now. All right, let's take a look at this again here, Ryan.
And just off screen, we're getting our safety car back, so getting one more look at it from the camera that's out to our right, up by the far right-hand side of the furthest grandstand. And obviously the driver's getting back to the line, so it doesn't seem like they feel like there's any major mechanical damage here. Let's get this second half underway.
Yeah, so that tells me that Odie, just was in it. He's okay, he's feeling all right. So here we go. Von Gittin Jr., Odie Bachis. Vaughn will lead, Odie will give chase. Don't leave in the judge's hands, throw down a gangster run as Vaughn Little separation here between the two drivers. Massive angle there from Von Gittin Jr. drops down. Ooh, taking a bit of a tighter line there. Vaughn, big angle. Odie Bakshis comes on in that last final outside zone. And bring it across the finish line. Ryan, will that contact help, hurt, and also who's at fault? Somebody does need to be deemed at fault
well,
in the judge's mind.
It's an incomplete run because the run stopped, right? So that's a collision. Somebody went off course, and this run right here would have been a tremendous conclusion had that not happened. I mean, Vaughn gets a very stable initiation to a great line up top, huge angle here. He's on that tighter line, but look at how well it sets him up on that second outside zone. I mean, just beautiful through there. Right there, a little bit of an adjustment. Odie kind of takes advantage. He's just inside the smoke line here. Good push by him through the finish line, and would have loved to have seen that on the first run as well, but it did come to a stark conclusion there that is going to have to be, basically analyzed by the judges and tell us what happened.
Well, Ryan, again, points at stake. Remember, talking about Odie winning a round, Chelsea, and let's take a look at the BC Racing overhead side-by-side view. Go for the gold. What do you got?
Yeah, I mean, for me, this isn't so much of a comparison. It's really just about trying to figure out who's at fault for Odie going off of course there. As it looks, Odie is thick smoke line there, staying on throttle. Vaughn taps the brakes. He's left foot braking, and that's perfectly fine to keep the car stabilized, moving forward with momentum. Let's find out. Here we go.
Was Odie going off course is the big question, too. Oh, look at this. So Von Gittin Jr. gets the win. So second in points, Odie Bakshis.
So that means Odie was going off course, right? Ryan, tell us what happened.
Ryan Lantain, what's up?
Hi guys, nice to talk to you again. We were looking at that over and over and over again from the drone. The drone, as you keep saying, Jared, it tells all tales. You can't hide anything from the drone, and you can see that Odie, it looked like he lifted actually a couple of times through outside zone 3 while he was in the lead, and Vaughn is right there next to him. He doesn't have anywhere to go other than into his door. So we put the fault on Odie, and it may be because he picked up so much speed, and that's a constant radius corner we have made there in outside zone 3. And if you start picking up too much speed, it looks like it's sending drivers off in that same area. You can see there's no paint left in one area, and then they go deep, they come back in, and they miss kind of the last portion of outside zone 3. You can see all the white lines are all there, no problem, because of the line that people take. They go too fast, they go off, and it looks like Odie was maybe going to go too deep, so he lifted. That's just our assumption in that area, but we can see that the smoke line stopped. There was a slowdown from him. Vaughn had nowhere to go and made contact with him.
Right on, thank you for your insight. When we come back, our final four is set. We got Denofa, 1 RTR, 2 RTR Mustangs on either side. We got Denofa versus Field, our points leader. And then we got third in points, Frederick Osbo going against Gittin. 2 champions on one side. We got a Mustang on either side and some real contenders for the championship. When we come back, the final four here at Lake Erie Speedway, round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. Human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
The Pedal Commander is the world's most advanced throttle response controller. It's a plug-and-play unit that unleashes the power of your vehicle. Has 36 total settings, is easy to install, and makes the driving experience so much more fun.
Picks up RPMs way better, kind of like a race car, it responds.
Order now and use code FD2021 for $30 off your purchase.
He was second in points coming into this round, and then after two one more times battles with Taylor Hull, you faced Von Gittin Jr. Odie, where do you think it went wrong?
Well, you know, I was really excited about the run, and I was having a really good time. And where it went wrong is when I got pushed out of outside zone 3/4 of the way into the zone. I just literally got pushed out. Your car there is not making an awesome grip. There's no banking to it. The smallest nudge moves you a little offline. It was more than a small nudge. I got moved like all the way out to the zone to a point where there's no recovery. If I tried recovering and like get back in throttle like hard to actually get cut inside to the track, I would have rotated like crazy. Like it was nowhere to go. And I'm really bummed out that, you know, apparently tire smoke is the only indicator of vehicle acceleration, and I feel like there's a fundamental problem there. We've been fast through that turn. I feel like we have that turn dialed. We're not blowing off the line there, and that's how I pick up speed and maintain speed in my car. There's certain aspects to throttle modulation and keeping traction down and actually momentum, and I was doing exactly that until I got pushed off the line. So we got to take these, you know. It'll happen again, and it is what it is. I just don't want to lose the points race, you know. I think we had such a good thing going. You know, Taylor Hull put up a heck of a fight. We had a lot of practice there. I felt warmed up. I felt really good. That run was felt great, and it was super fun. You know, chasing Vaughn. He's one of the fastest guys out that I've encountered this whole weekend. So that was it was a fun chase for sure.
Odie, thanks, guys.
Thank you so much, Lorette, and well said there. What do you digest there from Odie?
Well, it's clear he doesn't agree, right? He was definitely showing some frustration there, and you know that's going to be, I'm sure, a battle that will be debated. It'll be interesting to get the other side on Vaughn and his experience, but nonetheless, Von Gittin Jr. moving into the Final Four, he will face Frederick Osbo and Matt Field and Chelsea DeNova on the other side of the bracket.
And they are at the start line. Shout out to my wife Stephanie. Thanks for watching, and the boys Parker and Tyson and the whole family back at home. Love you. See you soon.
Top 4.
See you tomorrow. As we are seeing these hot rods, 2 All-American machines and All-American drivers piloting that Falcon Tires Corvette, the Drift Cave, Poorly Exhaust, Heat Wave Corvette. Got the Forge Stars in the corner wrapped in those Falcon tires. And then Chelsea DeNova piloting that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D. All right, so Matt Field will lead. He is continuing his reign of success. He is your points leader. DeNova, look at that long run up there. He knows he's got some horsepower on deck. Here we go, boys. This should be one for the ages here at Lake Erie Speedway. Look at that, Chelsea DeNova nosing in, not mimicking that angle, but definitely has the proximity. Let's see how he handles it coming that second outside zone. Matt Field dives in, Chelsea DeNova mirroring him right there. Nice little glancing across the nose of Chelsea DeNova and bringing around that last and final outside zone. Woo-wee! Told you it's going to be a good one. They keep it clean. Everything is above the belt. Well done from Field and DeNova.
Well, it could be argued pretty, I think, successfully that Matt Field has the most momentum in the series right now, and Chelsea Denofa does that diving in approach on the initiation, but he loses a little bit of angle there, keeps the proximity, and is back in the fight pretty quickly, but that was a mistake by Denofa in the chase position. Matt Field filling that second outside zone extremely well, but Denofa trying to keep him in tow, not let him run away. Field right at the edge of that outside zone 3, maybe a right rear tire on that outside line, but a great way to start the Final Four.
This is exactly what we needed to see. Like it, we're seeing a lot of contact previously. Now I think it's what's really going to shine here. I liked what Odie said about just, hey, this is the way I'm driving. This is what's to be expected. The smoke signal, the only indicator of speed. I mean, you want to stay within the spirit of drifting, but you don't want to kind of get all these different analytics. So here we go. Chelsea Denofa out front. Matt Field in chase position. Oh, buddy. Matt Field goes for it. Chelsea Denofa looking a lot more settled, more angle, but Field, watch this. He's going to come in here on the second. Oh, and there was the crease playing another role, and he's really deep in that slope. Matt Field way offline as Denofa continues through the course. Oh, and Matt Field, man, that was the largest role that crease played up until this point, Ryan.
Yeah, that was, I think, Matt Field coming a bit unstuck there and looking atypical Matt Field in the chase position. That was the first time, I think, this year we've seen him make quite a few mistakes in that position in the chase. He does dive in, but Denofa, look how deep he is into that outside zone. Beautiful job, big angle there, mid-inside line, and then Matt Field surging forward there, straightens out, then goes off course on the transition from 2 to 3. Now he's really far behind playing catch up, and you can see how tight of a line he had as he made that transition from 2 to 3. Then he goes almost off course there, taking out that marker to end outside zone 4.
All right, and I believe you know the outcome of this, which is very unfortunate for Matt Field. But Denofa could go for another victory like he did in Orlando. Again, totally unofficial, but going off of that, Denofa not throwing him off. Absolutely came in, kicked a hole in the speaker, and left. Matt Field and Chelsea Denofa, a great way to begin Final Four. For one driver more than the other. Slide him left for Denofa, right for Field, and there it is. Chelsea Denofa gets the win. He's going to the finals as our most recent winner, Matt Field in New Jersey, gets knocked out.
Could potentially be another podium here, though, for Field, looking at the qualifying of Gittin and Denofa. Both qualified mid-pack. We're seeing Gittin come in here at 19, Denofa at 17. Osbo at 2, Field at 4.
Okay. Yeah. So if Osbo wins, Field will get 3rd place. If Gittin wins, Osbo gets 3rd place.
Yep.
So it's just about holding carbon fiber. 3rd and 4th place. So whoever loses has the same amount of points. So you have to take that into consideration. With I think they were separated by 26 points, 20-something points. So we're splitting hairs here as far as the championship points race heats up. Here we are in the Type S Final Four. Type S Touring Products, the official lighting of Formula Drift. Here's the other side of the Final Four bracket. 2 champions, 3 championships between the two of them. Vaughn Gittin Jr., most recent winner, 2010 and then 2020 last year. And then Frederick Osbo a few years ago. Would love to add another championship title and grab that belt. And there are the points coming into this round of competition. No points for qualifying. So 258, look at that, 26-35. So I'm sure Matt Field would love, he wants him to lose here. He doesn't care about the carbon fiber. He wants the points, right? I mean, of course he cares about it for status and all of that. But I'm sure he would want Osbo to lose to not advance and potentially gain more ground going against Denofa and then eventually even winning. That would separate him even more from Matt Field. So here we go, Osbo and Gittin. Again, Gittin qualifying 19th. Who's going against Denofa in the finals? Is it going to be all RTR, fun haver? Or is Frederick Osbo, 3rd in points, going to go past Vaughn Gittin Jr.? And we did see a RTR 1-2 last year, right? We saw Vaughn and Chelsea, if I can recall, I believe it was. Here we go. Frederick Osbo, Vaughn Gittin Jr. Go look into that, somebody. Frederick Osbo in that Rockstar Engineering Toyota GR Supra. Leading the pack here in that first outside zone. Got gold and chrome. Ripping around the track, Frederick Osbo, Vaughn Gittin Jr. We saw this with Odie, where he leaves himself a lot of room, but he might be able to grip up now. Look at that. Frederick Osbo pulling that front right, as does Vaughn Gittin Jr. These guys hitting the three-wheel motions. Looks like Osbo left a little in the tank here as we go down to the final four. The Type S lights are on. What do you think, Ryan? Like,
well,
is this strategy for Vaughn or Osbo? What do you think?
I mean, everything is strategy, but a lot of this is just driving all out and trying to conserve enough tire to be powerful on your lead as you can in your chase. Vaughn does give Osbo a bit of some room there. He reels him in here in outside zone 2, but Osbo is driving incredibly in that lead position, right? Filling outside zone 2, entering 3, driving right at the edge of the course there, going a little bit wide on 3 as we're starting to see some of those lines get rubbed out. And this time, Vaughn was not able to stay as super close as he was to Odie on that previous run, which has turned out to be a controversial battle. But now they will switch things up, and we'll see if Osbo can continue that tear here in his chase run against Vaughn Gittin Jr.
Here we go, the second half of this battle. Who's going to the finals? Vaughn Gittin Jr., Frederick Osbo, let's send it! Here we go, Vaughn Gittin Jr. initiates. Osbo very low on the bank, very surprising, as Ginn has some in the tank as he goes against the Norwegian Hammer. The professional fun hammer into that second outside zone. Osbo, something is afoot, all ditto tire. As Vaughn almost spinning out. What is going? They might be out of tire, Ryan.
Yep.
I believe both drivers
potentially DB'd for Osbo.
I'm not seeing the right side. What left side? Oh boy, we saw this before.
Yeah. It kind of I think it happened on initiation potentially, but I'm not 100% about that. I noticed that there was something a little janky going on with Osbo, and then it started to get more out of whack as he left outside zone 2. Now, it's not going to matter because this is the second half of the run. The run is going to be judged as is. But
boom,
see right there
immediately, before even initiated.
Yeah, it was almost as if it was coming off leading up. And right now, he's in no...
Boom,
see right there,
immediately.
This is the second half of the run. The run is going to be judged as is. But
boom,
see right there,
immediately, before even
up. And right now, he's in no position to fight. But let's watch Vaughn.
What happened
Let's see what happens with Vaughn on that transition. He leaves 2. He comes into 3. Oh, he angles up, and he might have straightened out there.
You think?
Ooh.
Sorry, I didn't mean to make it sound like that. But
well, the straightening out to an incomplete is what we're trying to ascertain here. But I mean, it could be in the category of an unchaseable lead as well. So this is going to give us a good bird's eye view. Osbo's massively fighting the car, and we should watch him.
Whoa. Oh,
so it's definitely it's definitely like a big reinitiation.
That's an unchaseable lead.
So okay, let's assume incomplete on both drivers on the second run. Goes back to the first, right?
Goes back to the first.
Goes back to the first. Who did better on the first?
I mean, looking at it, I would say Osbo had a bit of an advantage here. So things get interesting here.
Could it be an OMT?
OMT?
I don't know. Tough.
You know what? I'm just going to go home. I'm out.
Yeah.
Here's the side-by-side. We know how the second half ends up, but let's take a look at this.
Yeah, I'm watching the left-hand side of the screen. All I want to try to figure out is if it's an incomplete from both drivers on the right-hand side of the screen, who did better in their respective positions on the left-hand side.
Ooh.
And this is, and does Osbo edge him out here? Does Vaughn stay in the fight? There's definitely some moments by both drivers there.
Vaughn had a weird transition going from the second outside zone to the third outside zone. We're hearing the locals feverish about hearing it one more time.
Yeah, another wrinkle that's come into the mix here. Something else was pointed out to me, that if Vaughn incompletes before Osbo, the run is technically over. So if Vaughn incompletes there and then Osbo incompletes there, even though they're independent, the run would be over the moment that Vaughn Gittin Jr. incompletes.
Technically, when did Osbo incomplete in the second?
I think he incompletes right at the beginning of outside zone 3. And I think Vaughn...
That's correct.
Go ahead, Ryan.
What we're looking at there is Vaughn over-rotating, coming up to outside zone 3. He straightens up, gets the car. You can see the rubber from here. You can see where he straightens very far inside of that corner. And then as Osbo comes up behind him, he then straightens as well. But it's after Vaughn does his straightening. And this is important because as soon as a lead car straightens, incompletes in any way, the run is over. And then the chase car is not responsible. So watch Vaughn here. He straightens right there, and then right after that, Osbo stops drifting. So we write the rules this way because we don't want a lead car to incomplete and then force the chase car to keep drifting past potentially a car that has spun out or hit the wall or something like that. So we've always had the rule written that the lead car is the one that sets the tone, let's say, for the whole battle. The lead car incompletes, the run is absolutely over at that point in time. Osbo, maybe strategically, he knew his car broke at initiation, but he tried to limp it all the way to that point. When he saw Vaughn straighten, he probably said, okay, I'm done.
So let me simplify it here. Osbo's incomplete is actually not relevant in this particular instance, because once Vaughn incompletes and Osbo has not incompleted, the run is over. So Osbo is not given an incomplete in this circumstance, which means that Vaughn has an incomplete, Osbo doesn't. Osbo has 2 complete runs, Vaughn doesn't have 2 complete runs.
That is a perfect analysis of this run right here, and that comes down, basically right now, Vaughn is going to be, if Vaughn loses because of that, he's going to feel really bad, because had he just completed the course with an injured car behind him, he would have probably had the win.
I think you should go ahead and put your score in then.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, that was a crazy turn of events. You can see Vaughn Gittin Jr. Still pumped, you know, but I like how Lantain elaborated. These are the finite details that develop, similar to that of the Brandon Sorensen thing and that Rome, and that, you know, coming to fruition, and certain things just really developing and progressing.
Yeah, no, I'm really glad that was pointed out, because that is something that could be protested by Osbo's team. If it turns out that what Ryan says is in agreement with the other judges, and it turned out that they made a mistake and didn't incomplete that situation for Vaughn, and then that could be protested by Osbo's team, and he would win that protest.
Scores are in, Ryan, and we talked about that. Here we go. Slide him left for Osbo, slide him right for Vaughn Gittin Jr., who's going against Chelsea Nova in the finals. 1 vote for Frederick Osbo, 2 votes for Frederick Osbo. Osbo is going to the finals. Great elaboration by Ryan Lantain on behalf of the judges. It is unanimous. So Osbo will be heading to the pits, working on his vehicle. And Ryan, keep in mind, we do give them an allotted amount of time. There goes Vaughn Gittin Jr. He will not get 3rd place. He will not hold carbon fiber, as Matt Field will get 3rd place. And Osbo, who was in 3rd place, could potentially surpass that of Odi Bakshi's in the points.
It's still unclear to me, not the result, but what happened to Osbo's car.
Yeah, and that's not the first time we've seen that, where he just dumps like a truck what as he goes in, and it wasn't under angle. That's what's even more weird. It's like it wasn't under severe angle. It just bottomed out, and it fell out from underneath him and slammed the car down. How he kept drifting through that is besides me, but these guys are talented. They make it look easy. When we come back, we'll get an update on what's going on in the Norwegian Hammers pit. We saw as you said earlier, Papadakis Racing team change out a corner of Ryan Turk's vehicle. It's the same team that's working on Osbo's vehicle. So when we come back, Chelsea Nova, he's chilling. He might be having a slice of pizza. I know he loves pizza. So we'll find out how quickly and swiftly Osbo and how well the vehicle gets back together. It's Osbo in Denofa in the finals when we return.
Oh, never mind. This is good.
Made in Japan. Breed.
What's up, everyone? We're pumped to announce Ford's Drift to Dirt Sweepstakes, where you can win your choice of a newly redesigned 2021 F-150 Raptor featuring Fox shocks with live valve technology, 5-link rear suspension, and Recaro seats.
Or you can win a 2021 Ford Mustang GT convertible, which you can shred the tires with 460 horsepower and 6 styling.
All you have to do is head to drifttodirt.com and enter to win.
In the Pro Championship in New Jersey. Chelsea Nova throws in and Adam LC trying to chase him out. These guys good friends. They've made video content before. Now coming into that second outside zone, filling all of that 180-degree turn. Chelsea Nova with a slight little bobble, a little correction there as the slow trickle coming and approaching that first front clip. Now they're going to transition down into that final outside zone, which is menacing because that wall is very unforgiving. We saw Austin Mata get taken out earlier in the Pro Spec Championship, and there they go crossing the finish line. So, here comes Robbins. Definitely an aggressive driver last year, tempering the flame, literally cooling it down here in the wet, but still phenomenal placement of that Nissan Z. And here goes, look at that, hangs it out to dry. And then around that front clip, you can see Kazuya Taguchi taking out that front clip. Oh, and then Robbins once again, so even in the lead position, takes that shallower line, just having a tough time. Maybe a little nerve-wracking looking at that wall and trying to... Let's see how they handle this. You saw Chelsea Denofa kind of pedal back a little bit. Looks like he's got the grip in the car. As Ryan starts looking at Chelsea. Oh, buddy.
What was the over-under on that happening?
This is they leave the start line. The conditions are drying out just a little bit, so I feel like we will be seeing a little higher speeds here coming to that first outer zone. Wonder if the gearing's going to work out for Frederick Osbo as Chris Forsberg takes a shallower line here. Frederick goes all the way out to that second outer zone. And now Chris gets that. Look at that, that absolute proximity. And now, ooh, it shallows up, takes out that front clip.
He had to do it.
Yeah, he had to do that. And then goes into that final outer zone. So shallow by Chris Forsberg. And this is a must-win for him. He all him just a few rounds ago. And here he is, Matt Field. A victory lap for the Falcon Tire Drift Cave Corvette, the Beast of the Bay 777. Your winner here at E-Town, the debut of the purpose-built Drift Coliseum here at Englishtown Raceway Park. Matt Fields gets the victory as Chris Forsberg retires and the Falcon Tire smoke gets created. Ryan.
Yeah, Mr. Appropriate Confidence coming through again. Doing well based on preparation. Matt Field, your winner here at Englishtown Raceway. Unfortunately for Chris, was not able to get the car to the line for the second run. He will get that second place, though, much needed as he tries to rack up points for what could potentially be a fourth championship, but does have some work to do, some gremlins to work out, and let's not forget that Frederick Osbo also capturing a podium here tonight.
Believers all screaming, need something fast to outrun the demons. Nothing come between the boy and his freedom. What good are rights when y'all don't even read them? The legend never die, you get reborn.
Formula Drift is brought to you by Air Force Aim High. Type S, official lighting sponsor of Formula Drift. Lights, camera, power, fun. And GT Radial, experience the performance. We are. So what we're seeing here is Kevin Wells is in the pit. He's got a clock there that says 7 minutes. Once that 7 minutes, and what that 7 minutes mean is, if you can elaborate, how much time does Freddie have? Because he doesn't just have 7 minutes. He has a little more.
Yeah, in the transition from the Final Four to the finals, when we have a situation like this, there is a 7-minute time allotment. And actually, this was born out of Chelsea DeNofa and Vaughn Gittin Jr.'s situation last year in Seattle. We give them a maximum amount of 7 minutes to get the car ready to go. And if he's not ready to go, he will have to bow out of competition. However, he still has his competition timeout, so you can add another 5 minutes on top of that. But he is not given an unlimited amount of time. He gets 7 minutes by the way the rules are right now, given the situation. And then if that expires, he does need to use that competition timeout.
Oh, I'm looking at this. I'm looking at a little conversation between Gittin and Osbo.
The judge is making the decisions, not him.
I just wanted to get an answer from the driver. The judges are trying to be mind readers, and they can't be mind readers.
I agree with that.
I know you do. JR, come here. Because we start this precedent, it just ends up being bullshit. So I just want to tell
I'm not sure the mind reading comment there is pretty simple.
I want to hear this. Hold on.
I saw that.
So the car was broken the whole time.
Yeah.
And I was doing everything I could to finish.
I know. I understand.
And when I came out of 2 into 3 and got the smoke screen that way,
yeah.
I couldn't see anything.
Sure, but you were 10 cars back. Like, you're not going to be able to see.
Yeah, I know that.
All right, thank you. We got to focus on the next run. All right, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not really sure what the mind reading comment has to do with anything. The judges didn't really have to mind read anything. All they had to do was determine, did Frederick Osbo, or excuse me, did Vaughn Gittin Jr. incomplete prior to Osbo? And that's pretty clear.
Speaking of mind reading, he's speculating on what was down. Maybe he doesn't know absolutely definitively clear. He does have a spotter up here. Also, speaking of mind reading, might be mind games, because guess what? He's going against Chelsea DeNofa. So you know what I mean. And Steph Papadakis making it real clear, saying, hey, he's got to focus on this. Lorette, I hear you down there. Lorette, what's up?
Well, guys, there's obviously a lot of movement down here. Steph Papadakis is in Frederick Osbo's window, and they are having a conversation. Steph obviously asked Vaughn to leave so they can have a conversation after the event. Of course, I'd like to step in there and find out what Steph is talking to him about, but I also don't want to interrupt team conversations. So the guys right now working really hard on the driver's side. Tire well down here. Can't tell if they're working on suspension or the tie rod, if they're trying to remove that. Again, a lot of bodies, a lot of parts going on. Potentially let me see if I can come in. Hey, Frederick, do you know what the guys are trying to fix back here?
Sorry, Lorette, one more time.
Do you know what the guys are trying to fix?
Yeah, we're trying to fix the car. Suspension broke, and I was doing everything I could to make it through that run.
Okay,
It broke
so I did
early
call
on.
it. Heads up.
I was hanging on for dear life till I got into turn 3, saw a big smoke screen there with JR the opposite way, and I was like, holy, what happened now? So that was a really weird turn of events. Obviously, with a broken car, we kind of got gifted it a little bit, but that's the way the rules are, and I think we had a good lead, and now we're just trying to fix the car.
Well, we came in a little bit late to the conversation that you and Vaughn were having. What was he saying?
So I think Vaughn, they're fishing for info for a protest, which they're totally in the right to do. I totally get it, because this is not the way we want to move on. It's also not the way anyone would want to move on, but it's the way that the competition is. So we'll see what happens. We're just over here trying to get this thing ready to rock again, and I'd love to do it again. I'd love to do it again and again and again. So we'll see if we can get to that point.
Thank you, Frederick. Guys.
Thank you, Lorette. I'd definitely love for you to get some words with Vaughn Gint Jr., but his teammate also, you know, getting prepared for battle. Not as frantic, but you can see Aldo and the boys down there working feverishly on the vehicle, and that whole Wisefab corner being swapped out. So here's the question: is how much damage was sustained? Is it repairable? Are the parts they're replacing? Also, you got to think about alignment. You know, again, they have the corners of the vehicle ready to go, but you can see Shaldo down there and the boys, so thrashing on the vehicle. So take a look at that clock, how much time is left, and as soon as that thing expires, I have to assume it'd be silly for them not. So 2 minutes, you can see just over the side of the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota Supra, the Toyota GR Supra on Nitto tires. So it's an all Nitto tire final, as Denofa will be going against Osbo. So like I said, Ryan, Matt Field will be getting third place, but the question is who is going to be getting the win. So as the clock is ticking down, coilovers are going on. So taking a look at this, you could see all hands on deck for Frederick Osbo as Papadakis Racing Team, Toyota Gazoo Racing.
133.
And just a crazy scenario unfolds once again. Adam Jabay, thanks for watching. Thanks to all the fans for watching. Randy Johnson, see you soon there. Remember, tune in or be there in person July 30th and 31st. July 30th and 31st. That is our next round of competition. It is pro only, not pro and pro spec. And then that is in Seattle at Evergreen Speedway. And then we continue on to Worldwide Technology Raceway. That is just outside of St. Louis and Madison, Illinois, just across the Mississippi River. So join us there for round 6 and round 3 of the Pro Spec Championship. So round 6 of Pro and round 3 of Pro Spec. That's the August 27th and 28th. And then there you see Long Beach, California, September 17th and 18th. The streets of Long Beach being utilized because the next weekend will be that of the Long Beach Grand Prix. So 30 seconds on the clock, obviously not going to be finished. The question is, when this expires, they'll obviously call their competition timeout, and that would only mean a 5-minute allotment. So Chelsea Denofa could very well receive the victory even without having to go toe-to-toe, wheel-to-wheel. So there we go, 10 seconds, 9. It's not New Year's for anybody. No ball is dropping, and the car is not dropping like it did earlier. And there it goes. So now the 5-minute, are you calling it? And he is calling it. Kevin, great position of that clock. Put it back up there. Put it back up there where you had it. Perfect placement. So when we come back, 5 minutes is ticking. And the plot thickens here at round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Jared Deanna, Ryan Sage, Lorette Nickel, your tour guides, but more importantly, an all-Nitto tire final. Will Osbo get his Toyota Supra and his team, the unsung heroes, getting the camera, getting the spotlight, all hands on deck. Frederick Osbo, is he going to get the car back together? Chelsea Nova waits in the wings. When we return, we'll find out.
Your body is a machine with 800 horses coursing through its veins. Ignite it. NOS Energy, human horsepower.
I'm Dylan Hughes, Formula Drift Pro driver, and today we're going to talk about Royal Purple HPS and what actually goes into it. There's a lot of talk about additives, and Royal Purple has its proprietary Centerlick technology. It is fortified with a high level of zinc phosphorus anti-wear additive for exceptional protection against heat and wear. Its high film strength improves sealing between the piston ring and cylinder wall for maximum horsepower and torque. Royal Purple HPS, race car technology for the street.
Link ECU produces standalone engine management technology with a range of products that allow you to unleash the power of your engine. Acting as your car's brain, Link ECUs control electronic fuel injection and ignition. A magnitude of sensor inputs and outputs ensure your engine exceeds your expectations. Built-in safety features guarantee engine protection, and data logs keep you informed on its performance. Smoke your tires, not your engine, with a world-leading Link ECU.
Ryan, this is not looking good for Frederick Osbo and his team. That is 1 minute and 15 seconds. Let's glance down here at the corner. I'm seeing a couple mechanics' rear ends, but I'm not seeing the rear end on the ground. Sweat is dripping.
This is the second clock, too.
This is the second clock.
Yeah.
So this is, we've gone through, do the math, 12 minutes. They're checking clearances. Brake rotor's not on. Brake caliper's not on. Ryan, this is looking dismal for Osbo. Yes, he does advance on past Von Gittin Jr., but I believe, there's no way. There's no way. They need to put all that stuff on. It's going to be a wrap, unfortunately, for him. So Frederick Osbo will get second.
What's so crazy about this is that this is literally a completed run from Von Gittin Jr. away from him and Chelsea being in the finals together, right? And because he incompletes first, it actually helps Osbo in this situation get to the finals and get those points for the finals. But Osbo, it looks like he's going to be incapable as we count down here with just a few seconds left.
Not happening.
To make it and compete.
Let's listen in here down in the pits. Yeah, 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1. That's time. That's time. Hey, round of applause for the mechanics, all the technicians. Round of applause for Osbo and the fans.
Look at that.
Great perspective. Hey, join us over at the podium, the trophy ceremony, if you're here in the building. Ryan, like you said, one turn away, or, a couple turns away from it being an all RTR fun haver. Got Lorette down there. We'll see if she can wrap out with Freddie. Let's go down Lorette. Lorette.
Freddie, a very valiant effort by the entire team, all hands on deck. Unfortunately, it just wasn't meant to be.
Yeah, we had our work cut out for us here. Been running hard all weekend. That bump down from the bank, I think, caught us in the end. And, maybe this was the way it was supposed to go down. We got to take the good with the bad. We got gifted a place into the finals here. And for us not to make it, I would have loved to battle Chelsea here. I think we had a better car here than we had in Orlando. But still a great weekend overall, qualified second, get to spray some champagne. So thank you guys, all of y'all that stayed here all the way through the night. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Freddie. Thank you. And hey, Lorette, just an update. We do need to see Chelsea Denofa complete his bye run. So here is a celebratory run for now two-time winner of 2021. He won back in Orlando. Now here he is winning. You can call him the bank master. He's the bank teller. He's the cashier. He's cashing checks, snapping necks, getting carbon fiber checks up here on the podium. So Chelsea Denofa, that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D will be your winner here at the first ever event at Lake Erie Speedway. What's going on? As we saw him warming up his Nitto tires. Chelsea, what are you doing?
Don't leave us.
Where is Chelsea going? Chelsea needs to run his bye run. He's calling a comp timeout.
All he needs to do is get to the line. And
Literally
he's the
all
winner.
he needs to do is run the car. All right. Formula Drift, am I right? Holy cow. As Chelsea Denofa, you saw him warming up his tires, warming up his Nitto tires. So it is a Nitto tire 1 and 2. Matt Field will get third place.
Pretty close first, still not first, but.
Ryan, interesting turn of events here. Again, all he needs to do is get to the line and run through the course.
He's smart enough to know that you cannot use a competition timeout for strategic purposes. So let's just hope.
What would that even be?
I don't know. I'm not surprised.
Like to go get a slice of pizza again, or does he really have to go to the bathroom or something, or what's going on here?
Well, look, I can speculate, but it looks like they're working on the car.
Oh, he's looking on a tune. So that I believe that's Ray, or it might be Jason Dixon. I believe that's Ray. So just from overhead view, I can't recognize anybody, but Lorette Nichols over there. Yeah, Ray is on his hood. He's tuning the car, checking out what's going on. Lorette, get in there. Go.
Yeah, I'm in there. Ray Shake is on the computer. Chelsea Denofa, you just had to make it to the start line. What's happening?
Well, I've never had a victory lap before, and I want to do that, but in the burnout box, the car broke up really, really bad. So I don't want to blow the car up on a victory lap and look like an idiot. So that's what we're doing real quick. It should only take a couple seconds, and we're going to go out there and put a show on for you guys.
Okay, so right now, Ray is looking at the data. We're looking to identify the problem.
Yeah, basically, it was like, I guess, either lean or rich in the tune, and he's going to see that, change it, and we're going to go back out.
All right, Ray Shake just gave a thumbs up. Chelsea Denofa heading out to the track, guys.
Actually, I think he just downloaded Torque Drift, available on iOS and PC, and so here's a look back at Chelsea Denofa's path to his victory for the second time in the 2021 season. Him and Kazuya Taguchi going at it. That was all the way back in 8. And then we saw him go against Matt Field. But again, Denofa had to go against Castro. He went through LZ. Here he is with Kazuya Taguchi. And then he went against Matt Field to find himself in the finals. Looks like the car is ready to run. He is on the start line. Okay, sorry. All All right, as this is where it was at earlier, Denofa and Field. Field went way off course. And Denofa pulling all the way through and pulling it to the line now. Here's the BC Racing Ditto Tires Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D and your winner of round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. Here at Lake Erie Speedway, I'll lay out and listen to the celebratory drift machine. And there she is, your winner, Chelsea Denofa. The BC Racing Ditto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D, his second win this season. Ryan, interesting turn of events, interesting events overall. What are your thoughts overall of Lake Erie?
Look, I mean, when you look at the big picture, the most important thing that comes out of these event weekends is that people are talking about what transpired, what happens. That helps grow the sport and gets people excited to see what's going to happen next. This is a very untraditional ending to an event, a crazy situation with Osbo where, you know, the damage to his vehicle was not sustained in a crash. It happened off the line. Yeah. And we see, you know, the teammate of Chelsea Denofa unable to make it to the finals with him because he did not make it through his lead lap before he incompleted, and then Osbo incompleted, and that leaves us an open gap with Osbo not being able to fix the car in time. We see Matt Field and a lot of other guys having some really challenging moments, but overall, I think this was a great first experience here at Lake Erie Speedway, and the fans have just been incredible.
Yeah, awesome fans here in the stands, and also thank you for your patience there online. A little bit of glitch there, but look at that. Mr. Bergenholtz waiting for the hug there, and there it is, Chelsea Denofa. Give him a little bit of hug. So third place in that Falcon Tires Corvette. There he is, giving us some hug. The Beast of the Bay, third place here at round 4. That is Matt Field. Congratulations, third place. He was your points leader coming in, shaking things up. Matt Field, congratulations, third place here at round 4 of the Pro Championship. Don't know if we have that of our second place finisher. I do not see him down there, but we will see him. We're getting him. All right, sounds like, looks like he is making his way from the chute. But the smile says it all. Lorette, let's go ahead and have some words with Chelsea now, if you don't mind.
Well, Chelsea just checking out his entire car, and he just says, how the heck is my bumper still on? Because, you know, normally it isn't. But Chelsea Denofa, congratulations, second win of 2021. Man, this was a wild one.
We just talk about that victory lap. That was ridiculous. I was like on limiter the whole lap, scraping the wall. That was for you guys and me. It's very rare that I get to drive a lap as hard as I physically can, and you just watched one. So I've never gotten a victory lap in my life, so I had to make use of it for sure.
Chelsea, earlier today I asked, how is everything? Are we good? It's all good? Yep. That was your answer. Yep. A little tight-lipped today, but man, what was it that was working so well about this track today?
I think the car was just really good. The team's been setting this thing up to be dialed. There was very little changes, but every little change we did was a step in the right direction, and we went into top 16 with a car that I felt super confident with. And as the track conditions cooled off, the car came to life even more, and it was just dialed the entire time. Yeah.
Well done. Ladies and gentlemen, your winner. Congratulations. Oh, and we have Frederick Oswald here as well. Try to get a word with him.
All right, so second place here, as we already announced, Matt Field, third place. Second place in the Rockstar Energy Drink Toyota GR Super on Ditto Tires, Frederick the Norwegian Hammer Osbo.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And now your winner, unofficially again, but now official, your winner here at round 4 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship, piling that BC Racing Nitto Tire Ford Performance Mustang RTR Spec 5D for the second time in the 2021 season. Your winner here at Lake Erie, Chelsea Denofa.
Yeah. Woo! Thank you.
Well, there you have it, our 1, 2, and 3, Chelsea Denofa, Frederick Osbo, Matt Field. I'll see you guys down on the podium. And just a great way to have a first ever event at a brand new venue for us overall. You know, we'll get the points, we'll throw them up on social media. I'm looking forward to Seattle. We are officially halfway done with our 2021 season, and it's great to see a new venue, new faces, and just overall 8 rounds of competition.
It certainly does, and this was, you know, a tough one in some ways, but also it was very fulfilling to be able to come to this part of the country and see so much support from local fans as we see the exodus here, you know, and all the fans that came out and supported and watched online. You never know what you're gonna find in this sport. It is crazy, it is unorthodox, it is the red-headed stepchild, and we love it. That's what we love about it.
You know what? I have no problem. Taking that ownership, especially, you know, we're not built from the same mold. So thank you so much to all the fans watching around the globe and those in the stands. On behalf of Lorette Nickel, Ryan Sage, our whole Formula Drift staff, our whole team, all the teams, the crew, the Formula Drift family. I'm Jared Dienda. We'll see you in Seattle at the end of month for round 5 of the Formula Drift Pro Championship. We'll see you online, and we'll see you another time. Send it, Formula Drift World.
Man, that was an awesome stream, an awesome event. Yeah. I'm still kind of mad that Matt did will win. If he didn't mess up, he must succeed. But, I smoked it. How's my bumper still on? Log in. I know I hate Chelsea Denofa, but still have his car on my profile picture. Don't, for my wall screen, don't X. Don't X people. JZX is available. Let's see if I can get somebody on the stream. See if I can get a friend of mine on the stream that also plays Asseto. See if we get it as well. All right. I'll wait for the screen curve, and I can upload and just. This guy's okay. Stream is so laggy. Like, see, when I was watching Formula Drift, it was fine. It's just, I was at like 30 frames consistently now, but I have one lesson. Getting like what? 25 Although I'm still rusty, so I'm trying to do this stream. turn on my lights. going to end stream. So, peace out, whoever was watching. I appreciate you for staying forever. For 3 hours, 45 minutes. I appreciate you. And good night.